Chapter 563. I'm also wondering if the appearance of skeleton has something to do with the blood moon and the blood sun. Lu Xingchen walked over at this time. Qin Feiyang turned to Lu Xingchen and said with a smile, Brother Lu should have grasped the shortcomings of everyone here last night. Lu Xingchen did not answer. He said, Can I have a word with you? Why can't I? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The three of them walked to the side and stood side by side on a hillside, looking into the distance. You guys dealt with skeleton last night, and we had nothing to do, so we might as well take a look. After all, there's a good saying that only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win 100 battles. Lu Xingchen said with a smile. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and shook his head. You really don't hide it at all. Is there a need to hide it? I think I know what everyone is thinking. I'm not like some people who say nice things on the surface but are actually darker than anyone else. Lu Xingchen said. You're talking about us? Fatso's face darkened. Whether I'm talking about you or not, you can think about it carefully. Lu Xingchen said meaningfully and immediately changed the topic. He asked with a smile, Brother Qin, what do you think about our cooperation? How? Qin Feiyang said. Lu Xingchen's eyes flashed. He said, let's go to the other side and enter the capital together. Even if it's just me and boss, we're confident that we can reach the other side. Why should we cooperate with you? What can we get in return? Fatso said disdainfully. Indeed, with Brother Qin's brain and means, you have a greater chance of reaching the other side than anyone else. But I want to ask you too, if Dongfang Wuhan, Murong Xiong, and Dong Xingyang join forces, do you still have confidence? Lu Xingchen said. Fatso frowned. We don't have confidence. Do you? Who knows? Lu Xingchen shrugged. He neither admitted nor denied it, making it hard for anyone to guess. Qin Feiyang looked deeply at Lu Xingchen. He lowered his head and muttered to himself for a moment. Then, he nodded and said, All right, I agree to work with you. I knew that Brother Qin was a far-sighted person. I wish us a pleasant cooperation. After Lu Xingchen finished speaking, he returned to the camp. Fatso frowned and asked in confusion, Boss, what does he mean? Qin Feiyang said, If I'm not wrong, the person he's talking about should be Dongfang Wuhan. It can't be. Are you sure Lu Xingchen isn't trying to sow discord? Fatso immediately expressed his doubts. All along, Dongfang Wuhan's performance had been that of an upright gentleman. How could his heart be dark? You can't judge a book by its cover. It's never wrong to take precautions. Qin Feiyang said. If it was really Dongfang Wuhan, then it could only be said that this person was too good at pretending. Half an hour passed quickly. Under the leadership of Dongfang Wuhan, everyone rushed to the end of the plain at top speed. Along the way, they didn't encounter a single skeleton. Unknowingly, the blood sun set in the west, and the blood moon slowly rose. At this moment, Lu Xingchen came to Qin Feiyang's side and said, It's best to advise Dongfang Wuhan to let everyone take a rest first. Qin Feiyang looked up at the blood moon in the sky. The blood moon hadn't risen yet, and only a little outline could be seen. Qin Feiyang nodded. I also have the same idea. Let's go. The two quickly caught up with Dongfang Wuhan. Qin Feiyang said, Senior Brother Wuhan, let everyone rest here. Why? Dongfang Wuhan was puzzled. Now that there were no skeletons, it was a good opportunity to hurry. Lu Xingchen said, We suspect that the appearance of the skeletons is related to the blood moon. You mean, once the blood moon rises, skeletons will appear? Dongfang Wuhan was surprised. Yes. Although it's just a guess, it's not a bad idea. Lu Xingchen nodded. Everyone had been rushing for a whole day. Whether it was physically or mentally, they were exhausted. If skeletons appeared at this time, it might be a disaster for everyone. Therefore, they must rest and face those skeletons in their peak state. I don't think so. According to my guess, the skeletons should be just a test. I think everyone knows that tests usually only appear once. We passed the test last night, so the skeletons won't appear again. Murong Xiong stepped forward and said. Since it's all a guess, to be fair, I agree with senior brother Murong Xiong. I agree too. There's no need to stop and rest. It's a waste of time. The people behind him also expressed their opinions. Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen looked at each other and couldn't help but frown. Lu Xingchen glanced at everyone and said, Are you sure you don't want to rest? What are you afraid of? Even if skeletons appear, we can deal with them in our current state. Someone said with dissatisfaction. Lu Xingchen frowned and looked directly at Dongfang Wuhan. Dongfang Wuhan looked around and said to Lu Xingchen, Sorry, I respect everyone's opinion. Okay, up to you. After Lu Xingchen said this, he returned to the crowd and looked around vigilantly. Qin Feiyang didn't say anything else and quickly returned to Ren Wushuang, Fatso, and Shen Mei's side. He immediately took out 4 battle chi pills and healing pills. Take them quickly. I have a hunch that skeletons will appear later. Qin Feiyang handed them to the 3 with a gloomy face. The 3 didn't hesitate and put a battle chi pill and healing pill into their mouths. Fatso immediately sneered, These people really don't know what's good for them. Although they are all geniuses of the spiritual state, they rarely go out to train. Whether it's crisis awareness or survival experience, they can't compare to you. Ren Wushuang sighed. Everyone, hurry up. Before dawn, we should be able to reach the end of the plain. Dongfang Wuhan shouted from the front. It's not that simple. Lu Xingchen in the crowd muttered. Crack. Suddenly. A faint sound entered everyone's ears. Are they here? Qin Feiyang's heart trembled as he looked up at the sky. The blood moon had already risen. Crack. Immediately after. The ground around them, including the ground under their feet, exploded. White shadows rushed out from the ground. If they weren't skeletons, then what were they? A few skeletons also rushed out from under Qin Feiyang and the others. Be careful. Qin Feiyang shouted in a low voice and moved like lightning, quickly shattering the skulls of those skeletons and the flames in their eye sockets. At the same time, Lu Xingchen also fought with the skeletons. The 2 of them were already prepared, so they launched a counterattack at the first moment. But the others who believed that the skeletons wouldn't appear again couldn't react in time. Ah, save me! A series of screams and cries for help suddenly resounded through the night sky. Those skeletons were like hungry wolves, rushing out from the ground and crazily slaughtering. The world was filled with their sinister laughter. In the blink of an eye, 50 to 60 people's blood splattered on the spot. The most terrible thing was that due to the previous sloppiness, everyone didn't maintain a formation. It could be said that they were like a sheet of loose sand. What are you all doing? Quickly fight back. Dongfang Wuhan heard the screams and immediately came back to his senses. While roaring, he attacked the skeletons in the crowd. There really were skeletons. If he had known earlier, he would have listened to Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen's suggestion. Now, it wouldn't be a mess. Bastard, go to hell. Murong Xiong also angrily attacked those skeletons. His face and ears were red. Because this time, he was the one who advocated not to rest. He thought that he could turn the tables, but who would have thought that Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen were right? Skeletons appeared again. This was undoubtedly an invisible slap that ruthlessly slapped him in the face. Right now, he felt like he was a clown jumping around, unbearable to the extreme. Therefore, he vented all the shame and anger in his heart on those skeletons. Bang! Crack! After a few breaths. When everyone hurriedly got rid of the skeletons in the crowd, more than a dozen people died on the spot. However, at the same time, the skeletons around also surrounded them. It was like an endless ocean, causing people to tremble in fear. Don't panic. Quickly get into formation. Dongfang Wuhan roared and quickly rushed to the front with two young men, blocking the skeletons coming from the front. Murong Xiong and Dong Zhengyang also brought people and rushed to the left and right sides. Sister, follow me. Qin Feiyang reminded and quickly rushed to the rear with Fatso. Dozens of breaths passed. Only then did the formation stabilize. During this period, there were undoubtedly people who died tragically. Senior Wuhan, what should we do? Everyone panicked. Damn it! Dongfang Wuhan was extremely angry. While fighting with the skeletons, he roared without looking back, Junior Brother Qin, Junior Brother Lu, according to your guess, when will the skeletons disappear? The blood sun will rise. Lu Xingchen said. What? It will take a whole night. After a day of continuous travel, everyone's condition is not very good. How can we hold on until then? Everyone's face was suddenly full of despair. Humph. Who was the one who boasted shamelessly that he could handle it? Why are you shouting now? Fat Lord can only say that you deserve it. Fatso snorted coldly. He had already advised them, but who would listen to him? Now they were afraid. Unfortunately, it was too late. Senior Brother Qin, Senior Brother Lu, we know we were wrong. We shouldn't have listened to Murong Xiong's slanderous words. Please, can you think of a way? Someone in the crowd pleaded. Hearing this, Murong Xiong, who was already ashamed, wished he could find a hole to crawl into. Fatso smashed a skeleton with a punch and said, Boss, Fat Lord won't allow you to meddle in other people's business. I don't intend to meddle in it either. Qin Feiyang shrugged his shoulders and focused on dealing with the skeletons. As for the pleas of those people, he pretended not to hear them. Lu Xingchen didn't care either. Both of them were very angry. What were you doing earlier? Now you know how to ask for help. There was no such good thing in the world. If you make a wrong decision, you have to pay the price. Seeing that the two of them were indifferent, everyone's expression was distressed and their hearts were filled with helplessness. Dongfang Wuhan also turned to look at Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen, frowning. You too, we were indeed in the wrong before, but it has already happened. Why are you still so calculative? Lu Xingchen shook his head and sighed. It's not that we don't want to help, it's that we can't help. Aren't you all top-grade alchemists? Can't you contribute a little bit of your top-grade pills? Chapter 564. Lu Xingchen said, I'm sorry, I didn't prepare too many pills in advance. I may not even have enough for myself. Me too. Qin Feiyang nodded. It wasn't that he was reluctant, but he just wanted to force Dongfang Wuhan to see if this person was a gentleman or not. Let's not talk about Junior Brother Lu, but Junior Brother Qin, don't you have your own alchemy fire? You can refine it at any time. Dongfang Wuhan was quite angry. It's true that I have an alchemy fire, but I don't have any herbs. Qin Feiyang said. Dongfang Wuhan fell silent. Senior Brother Wuhan, let's not talk about us first. Aren't you a top-grade alchemist yourself? As far as I know, you seem to have your own alchemy fire too. You can be generous and give everyone some healing pills first. After tonight, we'll slowly think of a way. Lu Xingchen said. To be honest, I didn't prepare much. Dongfang Wuhan sighed deeply, but then his eyes were firm. But as long as I can help everyone get through tonight, I'm willing to contribute all the pills I have. Senior Brother Wuhan is truly righteous. He's not like some people who are selfish. Wu Yan immediately complimented, and at the same time, mocked Qin Feiyang and Qin Yu. But the two didn't take it to heart. Shen San, come here. Dongfang Wuhan shouted to the crowd. Immediately, a skinny, yellow-skinned, shifty-eyed man ran in front of Dongfang Wuhan. "You guys block them first." Dongfang Wuhan said to Shenlong and Jiang Wei, then took out his Qinkuan bag and began to organize it. After a while, he handed a Qinkuan bag to Shen San and said solemnly, "Pay attention to everyone's situation carefully. As long as someone is injured, immediately send the pills to them." "Okay." Shen San nodded, took the Qinkuan bag and entered the crowd. "Please believe me, I will definitely lead everyone out of this plane. Let's go." Dongfang Wuhan waved his hand, and hundreds of people suddenly turned into a torrent and rushed forward. Fatso whispered, "Boss, I don't think this Dongfang Wuhan is pretending. Whether he is pretending or not, we can't make a conclusion too early." At this moment, Lu Xingchen came to their side and chuckled as he spoke. He then helped Qin Feiyang to cover their retreat. Fatso frowned and said, "Lu Xingchen, tell us the truth. Why are you trying to sow discord?" Lu Xingchen was stunned. "Brother Fatty, are you so sure that I'm trying to drive a wedge between you two?" Fatso said, "Fat Lord is not sure, but Dongfang Wuhan's performance is indeed that of a gentleman." "Really?" Lu Xingchen smiled disapprovingly, but then said, "But from the beginning to the end, I don't think I said that Dongfang Wuhan was a villain." Fatso frowned. What did he mean? Could it be that they had guessed wrongly? The person Lu Xingchen was talking about wasn't Dongfang Wuhan. But if it wasn't Dongfang Wuhan, who could it be? Fatso felt that his head was about to explode. This Lu Xingchen was too difficult to guess. Qin Feiyang, who had not spoken from beginning to end, suddenly asked in a low voice, "Brother Lu, did you just say that Dongfang Wuhan has an alchemy fire?" "That's right. It is said that he got it when he was training, but no one knows the details. There are not many people who know that he has an alchemy fire. I also heard it from Grandpa Ren when I was chatting with him." Lu Xingchen nodded. "What grade of alchemy fire?" Qin Feiyang said. Lu Xingchen shook his head and said, "This question, except for him, no one knows." Fatso said, "Boss, don't think about it. Even if he has an alchemy fire, it can't be a 5th grade one." He thought that Qin Feiyang was thinking about Dongfang Wuhan's alchemy fire again. Because now, the netherworld demonic flame needed to devour a 5th grade alchemy fire to reach the 6th grade. But in fact, Qin Feiyang did not have this idea at all. He was just thinking that since Dongfang Wuhan had an alchemy fire, why did he say that he did not have many pills? He could refine pills here. Dongfang Wuhan said this, could it be that he was trying to win everyone's favor? Of course. As a nominal captain, it was understandable that he wanted to win everyone's favor. Because as long as he got everyone's favor, everyone would slowly take him as the backbone and listen to his orders. But if this was the case, then this person was indeed a bit hypocritical. Because he could directly take out pills to save everyone, and everyone would definitely be grateful to him. There was no need to say things like "I didn't prepare much." It seemed that this person really needed to be paid attention to. "Look, what is that?" Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Everyone looked over, and a trace of surprise crept up in their eyes. 20 or 30 meters to the left, there was a 10-meter-high hill, and at the top of the hill, there was a broadsword. Half of the broadsword was in the soil, and only the upper half could be seen. On the hilt, there was a black skull engraved, surrounded by a bloody mist, which looked a bit scary. The blade was 5 fingers wide, and the surface was rusty, but Qin Feiyang and the others, who were dozens of meters away, could feel an amazing sharpness. The most important thing was that the skeletons that were rushing towards them would take the initiative to avoid the hill when passing by. It seemed that was the Holy Land in their eyes. I remember Commander Wang Hong said that there are a lot of treasures here. Is that sword also a treasure? Someone raised this question. As soon as this remark came out, everyone couldn't help but stop, and a strong greed crept up in their eyes. I think it's best to ignore it. Because we don't know whether that sword is auspicious or ominous. And now, we are already in danger. If something unexpected happens, I'm afraid the consequences will be unimaginable. Lu Xingchen said. What a joke. Why did we come to the netherworld? Isn't it to enter the imperial capital and get some treasures on the way? Now that we finally encountered a treasure, how can we not take it? If you don't want it, I want it. Murong Xiong smiled coldly, and left the team without permission, broke into the group of skeletons, and rushed towards the hill. Why won't you listen to my advice? Lu Xingchen sighed, his face full of helplessness. Whether it's auspicious or ominous, we can't leave Murong Xiong alone. Let's go and take a look. Dongfang Wuhan waved his hand, and the team immediately turned around and rushed towards the hill. Qin Feiyang glanced at the sword, turned to Lu Xingchen, and frowned. Do you know what that is? I don't know, but I have a bad premonition. Lu Xingchen shook his head, and there was a trace of worry in his expression. Ominous? Qin Feiyang narrowed his eyes slightly. Although there were countless skeletons blocking the way, the team quickly arrived at the bottom of the hill with a distance of 20 to 30 meters. Murong Xiong arrived first, and his eyes were full of fanaticism and greed. He jumped up without hesitation, grabbed the hilt, and pulled with force. Clang! Accompanied by a loud ear-piercing sound, the sword broke out of the ground. The lower half was also covered in rust. But between the rust, there was a wisp of cold black light. Slash! Murong Xiong grabbed the sword and slashed in the air. A black sword shadow suddenly broke through the air, and slashed into the group of skeletons. An astonishing scene appeared. Wherever the sword shadow passed, the skeletons were like dead wood, and turned into ashes, leaving no remains behind. Good sword. Seeing this scene, Murong Xiong suddenly became excited. The eyes of the other people below also lit up. Although the sword is good, it's not something ants like you are qualified to use. However, at this moment, a bone-chilling voice, like a demon from hell, suddenly reverberated in this place. Who? Everyone turned pale with fright. Boom! The next moment, the hill under Murong Xiong's feet suddenly exploded. Dust and smoke billowed in all directions. Murong Xiong's expression changed, and he hurriedly jumped down. Qin Feiyang and the others also retreated, and their eyes were fixed on the dust and smoke in front of them. Whoosh! Suddenly, a black figure rushed out from the dust and stood in front of everyone. Seeing the black figure's true face, everyone present turned pale with fright. Because it was also a skeleton. But the difference was that the skeleton's bones were all black, as if they were soaked in ink. Moreover, its aura was very strong. If measured by humans' cultivation level, it was definitely not lower than a 9-star combat emperor. So it's just a dead thing, and you dare to come out and cause trouble. Now, I will completely destroy your soul. Murong Xiong's body shook, and the aura of a combat master emerged. At the same time, he raised his sword and slashed at the black skeleton in the air. My sword, what right do you have to use it? The black skeleton was disdainful, and its bone claws stretched out. The battle sword in Murong Xiong's hand suddenly trembled, and it broke Murong Xiong's big hand, then flew out of his hand and flew towards the black skeleton. How is this possible? Murong Xiong was dumbstruck. This battle sword, does it have a sword spirit? Clang! When the battle sword fell into the black skeleton's hand, it immediately began to buzz and tremble, and the rust on it trembled and continuously fell off. Not long after, a black shining battle sword appeared in front of everyone's eyes. On the blade, there was no trace of rust. The shocking sharpness was earth-shattering, and it instantly drowned everyone. At this moment, everyone felt as if there were countless sharp blades strangling towards them. Their clothes were torn, and their skin was burning with pain. Sure enough, it confirmed my premonition. Lu Xingchen whispered. The black skeleton lowered its head, and the flames in its eye sockets flickered, as if it was examining the battle sword. Its bone fingers were also stroking the blade gently, as if it was stroking its own child. You have disturbed my meditation. Today, all of you will die. Suddenly, the black skeleton raised its head, and the two balls of flames in its eye sockets were crazily jumping. A shocking murderous aura, with it as the center, rolled in all directions. Following closely, it raised its battle sword high and slashed down. A black sword shadow whizzed out, slashing towards Qin Feiyang and the others. It's all because of greed. Qin Feiyang let out a long sigh and shouted, "Everyone, let's go." The team immediately turned around. Qin Feiyang and Fatso, who were originally at the back, turned to open the way. Dongfang Wuhan and the other two, who were originally at the front, turned to the back at this moment. Hundreds of people didn't dare to hold back. While fighting with the white skeleton, they frantically fled this place. However, the sword shadow was too fast. In the blink of an eye, it was above the crowd. Ren Wuxuang shouted, "Murong Xiong, you're the one who caused this trouble. Why aren't you making a move? Damn it!" Murong Xiong cursed inwardly, his face ashen. This was already the third time. He didn't even know how to face everyone in the future. Boom! He attacked furiously. His battle chi turned into a torrent that went against the flow and blasted towards the black sword shadow. But in the end, both jade and stone were destroyed. How is this possible? Murong Xiong found it hard to accept this fact. He was a one-star battle ancestor, and he had used his full strength. No matter how strong his battle sword was, it couldn't be this strong. You can block it? No wonder you dared to snatch my sword. But if you think that's it, then you're wrong. The black skeleton laughed mockingly. The battle sword in its hand shone brightly. At the same time, an even stronger aura than before rushed out from the black skeleton's body and swept through the sky. Battle ancestor. Everyone's bodies and minds trembled. This skeleton actually had the cultivation of a battle ancestor. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, Lu Xingchen, can you guys go faster? Someone couldn't help but shout in fear. Fuck. I told you not to go earlier, but you insisted on going. Now, you're scolding us instead. Fat Lord really admires you pigs. If you think it's too slow, then do it yourself. Fatso said angrily. Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen were also holding back their anger. Escape. The black skeleton took a step forward with a threatening aura, but it followed behind the crowd at a leisurely pace. What does it want to do? Everyone was bewildered. Are you guys really pigs? Can't you see that it wants to slowly torture us? Fatso roared. Dongfang Wuhan said in a deep voice, Murong Xiong, go and kill it. Why should it be me? Murong Xiong frowned. The battle sword already made him fearful, not to mention a skeleton with the cultivation of a battle ancestor. Dongfang Wuhan roared, nonsense, this matter started because of you, shouldn't you go and deal with the aftermath? If you don't go, even if you can reach the other side, don't even think about entering the imperial capital. Ren Wuxuang also said. In other words, he wanted to tell the old man that he was disqualified from entering the imperial capital. All right. You guys are ruthless. Murong Xiong gloomily glanced at the two of them, then turned around and charged towards the black skeleton. Dongfang Wuhan frowned and said loudly, Junior brother Qin, junior brother Lu, Dong Xingyang, I really can't be at ease. I'll leave everyone to you guys to take care of, I'll go and help him. Finished. Dongfang Wuhan resolutely turned around and chased after Murong Xiong, charging towards the black skeleton together. Boom! Ka-cha! Clang! The sound of battle rang out one after another. However, no one turned around and fled frantically. Several hundred breaths passed. Qin Feiyang and his group arrived in front of a valley. The valley wasn't big, surrounded by mountains on all sides. There was only one narrow entrance, and there were many skeletons inside. Everyone immediately charged in. After clearing out the skeletons, Qin Feiyang said, 8-star War Emperor and 9-star War Emperor, go and block the entrance immediately. Don't let the skeletons in. Yes. More than a dozen people responded and immediately rushed towards the entrance, forcibly blocking the skeletons that were chasing them outside. Qin Feiyang looked at the situation at the entrance, raised his head to look at the mountain peaks on all sides of the valley, and then looked at Dong Zhengyang and said, Dong Zhengyang, you stay here in case of any accidents. Dong Zhengyang frowned. He didn't like Qin Feiyang giving him orders, but for the sake of the overall situation, he nodded. Qin Feiyang then looked at Lu Xingqian and Fatso, and said, let's go up and take a look. Chapter 565. The three of them stood at the top of the mountain and scanned the valley. Apart from the front entrance, there were not many skeletons in the other three directions of the valley. And they did not climb towards the top of the mountain. As long as they could block the entrance and stay in the valley, they would be safe for the time being. Boom! Crack! The sound of battle in the distance was endless. Qin Feiyang looked up. It was night, and with the blood mist blocking his vision, he could not see the situation over there clearly. Lu Xingqian said with a smile, Brother Qin, with your methods, you should be able to deal with that skeleton. Aren't you talking nonsense? With boss's strength, not to mention one, even two more won't be a problem. Fatso said proudly. Are you exaggerating? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and shook his head. The strength of the black skeleton cannot be underestimated because it has an immortal body. But I have some confidence in dealing with it. Aren't you also immortal? Fatso chuckled. What? Brother Qin has an immortal body? Could it be that Brother Qin is also a skeleton? Lu Xingqian looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Ah! Fatso was stunned. This guy's imagination was too rich, wasn't it? The immortal body he mentioned was referring to the battle formula. Once Qin Feiyang activated the battle formula, what was the difference between him and an immortal body? Seeing Fatso's expression, Lu Xingqian knew that he had misunderstood. He said with a smile, Brother Qin, don't you think it's very tiring? If there were only a few of us, I think it would be easier. It's not very tiring, it's very tiring. Boss, Fat Lord, I really don't know why you're walking with them. Fatso immediately said with dissatisfaction. We've already come here. No matter how dissatisfied you are, you have to wait until we get out of the plains. Qin Feiyang said. Fatso glanced at the people below the valley and snorted coldly. Fat Lord doesn't want to stay a moment longer when facing these pigs. Bear with it. Qin Feiyang smiled. Look, why is there an iron sword over there? Suddenly. Someone in the valley below exclaimed. Iron sword? Qin Feiyang and the other two were shocked. They hastily jumped down and landed in front of the crowd. Fatso asked in surprise, where? One of the disciples stretched out his hand and pointed to the right side of the mountain. Qin Feiyang looked up, and his pupils shrank. Halfway up the mountain, there was a protruding rock, and right in the middle of that rock, there was a rusty sword stuck out. If there are battle swords, does that mean that there are also black skeletons here? Senior Brother Qin, Senior Brother Dong, what should we do? When they saw the sword again, there was no longer any greed in their hearts, only a deep fear. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Why were these people's psychological qualities so bad? Don't panic. He shouted coldly, looked at Dong Zhengyang, and asked, shall we go up and take a look? You can look, but don't act recklessly. Dong Zhengyang said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyang said, I'm not some people, I still have a sense of propriety. Whoosh! The two quickly ran to the foot of the mountain and climbed up. After a few breaths, the two climbed up the rock and carefully walked to the front of the sword. This sword was slightly different from the previous one. This sword also had a skull on the hilt, but the blade was only 2 fingers wide, and could be considered a thin sword. And between the rust, there was a dark light. The two stood in front of the sword. More than 10 breaths passed, but the sword did not change at all, and no black skeleton appeared. It seems that as long as we don't touch it or pull it out, the black skeleton will not appear. But is there a black skeleton or not? Qin Feiyang frowned. Dong Xingyang looked down at the rock under his feet and said, "There are rocks here, there is no place to hide." "I don't think so." After that, he looked up at the sword, and his eyes could not help but become fiery. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stopped him and shook his head, "Even if there is no skeleton, don't act rashly." Dong Xingyang immediately glared at him with dissatisfaction, but in the end, he did not say anything. Although it seemed to be fine now, who knew if something would happen when he really pulled out the sword? So it was better not to take this risk. After observing for a while, Qin Feiyang turned around and jumped down. But at this moment, Dong Xingyang said, "Qin Feiyang, the battle of the 9 states is over, only one of us can leave the 9 underworlds alive." This place was suddenly filled with a murderous aura. "Any time." Qin Feiyang's footsteps paused for a moment. After he finished speaking, he jumped down. Compared to Murong Xiong and the others, he admired Dong Xingyang more. This was because Dong Xingyang would not play any tricks. He was straightforward and aboveboard. "How is it?" Seeing the two of them come down, a group of people immediately surrounded them nervously. "Just don't move. Hurry up and heal your injuries. Shenlong and the others also need to rest. We can't let them carry it all the time," Qin Feiyang said. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. "Do you think you'll be fine hiding here?" But suddenly, a playful voice came from outside the valley. "It's it. Why is it here? Where are senior brother Wuhan and senior brother Murong Xiong? Have they been killed?" Everyone who had just breathed a sigh of relief felt their hearts in their throats again. Because this voice was too familiar. It was the black skeleton. "Let's go." Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He waved his hand and led everyone to the exit. As soon as they reached the exit, the black skeleton entered their line of sight. Dozens of meters away, the black skeleton walked over step by step. The battle sword in its hand emitted a gloomy black light. It was surrounded by a bloody mist, like a ghost walking in the night. Dong Xingyang clenched his hands and said in a deep voice, "I'm afraid that Dongfang Wuhan and the others are doomed. It bodes ill rather than well." Everyone's body and mind trembled. They all looked at Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang, looking extremely panicked. "Senior brother Qin, we were wrong before. Please help us get through this calamity. As long as we can survive, we promise that we will never go against you again." Wu Yan and Su Yang spoke one after another, their faces full of pleading. "Go against you?" Fatso sneered. "You don't even think about it properly. Do you really think you can cause us any losses?" Both of their eyes were instantly filled with rage. "Not convinced." Fatso glanced at the two with disdain. "Stop arguing." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and looked at Dong Xingyang. "You take everyone to guard this valley. I'll go and meet it. It's not that I don't believe you, but to be on the safe side, I'll go with you," Dong Xingyang said. "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. Dong Xingyang's strength was not bad, and with the help of the war soul, he might really be of great help. "Shenlong, Jiang Wei, Fatso, you guys guard the entrance. Don't go out." After exhorting them, Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang took a step forward and rushed into the group of skeletons ahead. Boom! Both of them released their auras, like two human-shaped tyrannosauruses. Wherever they passed, the skeletons were smashed into pieces. There are still people who are not afraid of death. Seeing the two of them take the initiative to attack, the black skeleton was quite surprised. The two of them were silent and crazily killed their way over. Soon, they were only 5 or 6 meters away from the black skeleton. Since you guys are in such a hurry to die, I might as well fulfill your wish first. After I kill you guys, I'll slowly torture them. The blood of humans is a rare delicacy in the world. The black skeleton glanced at Qin Feiyang and Dong Zhengyang, and the blood-colored flames in its eyes flickered rapidly. Boom! In the next moment, it raised its battle sword and slashed in the air. A sword aura roared out, and its sharpness tore through the ground. The surrounding white skeletons were instantly annihilated. The white skeletons in the distance seemed to be very afraid when they saw this scene. They surrounded in the distance and did not dare to go forward. This is a huge help. Qin Feiyang mumbled. If those white skeletons continued to surge forward, it would definitely cause them a lot of trouble. It would naturally be even more difficult to get rid of the black skeleton. Qin Feiyang was about to attack when Dong Zhengyang stopped him and secretly sent a voice transmission. I'll test its strength first. You act according to the situation. As soon as he finished speaking. Without giving Qin Feiyang a chance to speak, Dong Zhengyang placed his hands in front of his chest and quickly formed seals with his 10 fingers. Streams of black battle chi appeared and gathered between his hands. Almost in the blink of an eye, a thumb-sized black square seal condensed. Boom! As soon as the square seal appeared, a shocking aura surged in all directions. Black Devil Seal. With a low roar from Dong Zhengyang, the black square seal cut through the sky and collided with the sword aura. A loud explosion immediately sounded. Destructive waves of air covered the sky and the earth. Qin Feiyang had no choice but to retreat. Pfft! At the same time, Dong Zhengyang spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered back a few steps. Not a match. Seeing this, the hundreds of people at the entrance couldn't help but feel uneasy. No wonder Dongfang Wuhan and Morong Xiong died. It turned out that the black skeleton was actually so powerful. Its strength is not bad. But if this is all you have, then I advise you to give up resisting as soon as possible. The black skeleton sneered. Whoosh! It took a step forward, grabbed the battle sword, and directly slashed at Dong Zhengyang's head. Humph! Dong Zhengyang snorted coldly and didn't retreat at all. His big hand stretched out like lightning, the battle chi in his palm surging, and he slapped the back of the battle sword with his bare hands. Clang! The terrifying power bombarded the battle sword, and the battle sword suddenly bent and broke away from the black skeleton's bone claws, flying out and disappearing into the night sky. Following closely, Dong Zhengyang took a step forward and instantly landed on the side of the black skeleton, and then punched at the skeleton's skull. Crack! The continuous attacks caught the black skeleton off guard, and its head was torn apart on the spot. The skull was shattered, and the 2 flames in its eye sockets were equivalent to losing their protection, floating in front of Dong Zhengyang. Good chance. Dong Zhengyang's eyes lit up, and his hands stretched out like eagle claws, grabbing at the 2 clusters of flames. But just as he was about to grab the flames, the black skeleton's shattered skull was actually repaired in an instant. Moreover, that pair of dark bone claws was reaching for Dong Zhengyang's chest. Damn it! Dong Zhengyang cursed under his breath and retreated without hesitation. Hee, the black skeleton chased after him and even let out an ear-piercing laughter. It seemed that Dong Zhengyang's previous actions had completely infuriated it. At the same time, its bone claws stretched out in the air. Clang! The battle sword that disappeared into the night sky brought with it a sharp ear-piercing sound as it tore through the air like lightning. It grabbed the hilt of the sword, and the cluster of blood flames in its energy reserve released wisps of blood-colored air currents, like battle chi, and merged into the battle sword. Clang! At that moment, the battle sword began to tremble violently. One could even sense a very eager and excited spiritual fluctuation. Moreover, the blade of the battle sword was also covered with a layer of hazy blood light. Its sharpness was even stronger than before. At this moment, whether it was Qin Feiyang or Dong Xingyang, they both felt a fatal threat. And this threat came from that battle sword. Qin Feiyang, its self-healing ability is several times stronger than that of the white skeleton. It's very difficult to deal with. Therefore, you have to think of a way to destroy that battle sword. As Dong Xingyang retreated, he secretly sent a voice transmission to Qin Feiyang. Previously, he had attacked with all his might, but he could only send the battle sword flying. From this, it could be seen that he did not have the ability to destroy the battle sword, so he could only rely on Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. It was not impossible to destroy the battle sword. At the same time, as the blood-colored air currents continued to gather, the black battle sword in the black skeleton's hand had already turned dark red, emitting a terrifying murderous aura. Human, I will definitely suck your blood dry. Suddenly, the black skeleton laughed sinisterly and raised its battle sword high. Immediately, dark red blood blades flew out, filling the void densely. Now, have a taste of your flesh being cut off piece by piece. The black skeleton's tone was almost crazy. It suddenly waved its battle sword, and the blood blades in the void charged towards Dong Xingyang. You don't have the ability yet, Heavenly Demon Seal. Dong Xingyang was seething with anger. He placed his hands in front of his chest and quickly formed a seal. Boom! With a loud bang, the ground around him exploded, and a deep pit appeared under his feet. Dust and smoke billowed in all directions. At the same time, a black square seal rushed out from between his hands, carrying the power to destroy the world as it blasted towards the blood blades. This heavenly demon seal was even stronger than the black demon seal from before. Clang! The blood blades shattered one after another. However, the heavenly demon seal was also gradually dissipating. When the last blood blade dissipated, the heavenly demon seal disintegrated with a loud bang. Dong Xingyang immediately flew out like a meteorite. Blood spurted out of his mouth. His face was also as pale as paper. But this time, the black skeleton was also forced back a few steps. The blood-colored flames in its eyes showed signs of extinguishing several times. Quick! Dong Xingyang shouted to Qin Feiyang. If he didn't destroy the battle sword, he wouldn't be able to hold on any longer. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold as he used the phantom steps, leaving behind afterimages as he rushed towards the black skeleton. Even that war master is no match for this seat. You, a mere war emperor, still dare to come here. This seat really admires your courage. The black skeleton's disdainful voice echoed in the air. Clang! It waved its battle sword, and a dark red sword chi whistled towards Qin Feiyang. Its movement of swinging the sword was very light, full of contempt. You'll suffer if you underestimate him. Dong Xingyang whispered. He had already stabilized his body and stared at the black skeleton, waiting for the best opportunity to attack. The sword chi arrived in an instant. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted into a cold smile. He slapped the air with his hand, and a golden light appeared and collided with the sword chi. Puff! Qin Feiyang's body trembled as he spat out blood. The skin on his arm was even more lacerated. But at the same time, the sword chi turned in the air and slashed towards the black skeleton. What's going on? The black skeleton was bewildered. The surprise is yet to come. Don't worry. Qin Feiyang laughed coldly, and followed closely behind the sword chi, continuing to attack the black skeleton. It was also at this moment. Dong Jingyang was like a venomous snake baring its fangs, and also rushed towards the black skeleton. The black skeleton glanced at the two of them, the flames in its eyes jumping rapidly. It suddenly raised its bone finger, pointed at Dong Jingyang, and shouted, "Kill him." As soon as these words were spoken, the white skeleton in the distance immediately turned into a white wave and swarmed forward. Chapter 566. Damn it! Seeing this, Dong Jingyang cursed and sent a voice transmission, "Qin Feiyang, hold on for a while. I'll come and help you as soon as possible." Qin Feiyang turned around to look at Dong Jingyang's situation and did not panic at all. Because at this time, he could not panic. He turned his head and continued to rush towards the black skeleton, saying, "Do you think you can kill me by trapping him? A mere 8-star war emperor can have such a method. It does surprise me, but that's all." The black skeleton sneered and waved the battle sword in its hand. Dozens of blood blades appeared and filled the void in front of it. Die! It raised its head and roared, like a ghost's howl. Whoosh! In an instant, the blood blades floating in the air were like sharp arrows, cutting through the night sky and charging towards Qin Feiyang. The bone-piercing killing intent made one tremble in fear. Qin Feiyang did not dodge, and his gaze was deathly still. Suddenly, he raised his arm and clapped his hand in the air. A glaring light gushed out from his palm like a tidal wave. Boom! A deafening explosion suddenly sounded in the night sky. Golden light shone in all directions. Amidst the golden light, the dozens of blood blades turned in the air and shot towards the black skeleton. What? The black skeleton was shocked. If it was only once, it could be treated as a coincidence. But if the same thing happened a second time, then it was definitely not a coincidence. But how did this human do it? Dozens of blood blades were aggressive and instantly drowned the black skeleton. And Qin Feiyang's arm was also shattered, flesh and blood flying everywhere. But he did not retreat. He stepped on the ground and forcefully stabilized his body. At the same time, the ground exploded, revealing a deep pit. Then, Qin Feiyang was like an invincible war god. He ignored his shattered arm and swooped down in front of the black skeleton like lightning. "Underestimating me, you will pay a heavy price." He smiled coldly. Clang! Chang Shui appeared out of thin air. He raised his other arm, grabbed Chang Shui, and slashed towards the black skeleton's head. Originally, Dong Jingyang's intention was to destroy the battle sword first before killing the black skeleton. But at this moment, he had a chance to directly shatter the black skeleton's skull, shatter the flames in its eye sockets, and kill it completely. A person with a strong combat awareness would definitely know how to adapt to the situation during battle. Therefore, Qin Feiyang ignored the battle sword and directly charged towards the black skeleton. However, the black skeleton's reaction speed was far beyond Qin Feiyang's expectations. Just as blue snow was about to pierce through the black skeleton's skull, the black skeleton brandished its battle sword and slashed towards Qin Feiyang's waist. In the blink of an eye, Qin Feiyang quickly retreated and dodged the attack of the battle sword. If this were to continue, there would be a situation where both jade and common stone would be destroyed. Therefore, he had no choice but to retreat. But while retreating, with his rich combat experience and combat awareness, Chang Shui in his hand turned in the air and slashed at the battle sword in the black skeleton's hand. Clang! Instantly, sparks flew everywhere. Chang Shui's sharpness was indestructible. It instantly cut the battle sword into two. What? The black skeleton turned pale with fright. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed inwardly. It was such a good opportunity, but he couldn't kill the black skeleton. What a pity. Fortunately, he had a strong ability to adapt and destroyed the battle sword. He did not let down Dong Xingyang's expectations. "Human, you're going to die." Suddenly, the black skeleton roared, and its murderous aura surged into the sky. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Qin Feiyang restrained his emotions, and a cold glint appeared in his eyes. "Fight!" He was about to activate the battle formula, but at this moment, Dong Xingyang suddenly shouted from behind, "Qin Feiyang, get out of the way." Qin Feiyang was shocked. Because behind him, he felt a destructive wave. Obviously, Dong Xingyang had used some killing move. Without hesitation, he flickered and disappeared without a trace in an instant. Godfiend Seal. The moment he disappeared, Dong Xingyang, who was surrounded by white skeletons, roared angrily. His long hair fluttered, and his aura was overwhelming. At the same time, between his hands, a pitch-black square seal shot out like a meteor. Wherever it passed, those white skeletons with immortal bodies were crushed into pieces like decaying dead wood. The terrifying power tore the earth apart. Damn humans! If the battle sword wasn't destroyed, even if all of you joined forces, I wouldn't be afraid. Seeing this, the black skeleton cursed angrily, then turned around and fled in fear. The battle sword is indeed its greatest reliance. Dong Xingyang muttered. Then, killing intent surged in his eyes. The black square seal cut through the sky, and its aura firmly locked onto the black skeleton. No matter where the black skeleton escaped, the square seal followed. In the end, the black skeleton couldn't escape. The square seal carried an aura of destruction and blasted onto its body. Immediately, a shrill scream resounded through the night sky. The surrounding white skeletons were also completely shattered and disappeared in an instant. Is it dead? Dong Xingyang fought with the white skeletons while looking at the dusty area over there, feeling rather uneasy. If they couldn't kill the black skeleton like this, then everyone could only run for their lives. Swoosh! At this moment, Qin Feiyang also appeared out of thin air. He crushed the white skeletons in front of him like a hot knife through butter and gathered together with Dong Xingyang. His heart was also very uneasy. A moment passed. The dust settled, revealing a huge sinkhole. The ground near the sinkhole was also shattered. The two of them looked at each other and approached the sinkhole. When they arrived at the edge of the sinkhole, the two of them hurriedly looked at the bottom. It was empty inside. But there was a black skull buried in the soil at the bottom. It's not dead. The two of them widened their eyes in disbelief. Hold on, I'll go down and take a look. Dong Xingyang said gloomily. He pushed back a few white skeletons that were pouncing on him with a palm strike. Then, he jumped into the sinkhole and carefully approached the skull. When he was 10 meters away, there was no movement from the skull. When he was 5 meters away, there was no movement from the skull either. When Dong Xingyang walked to the front of the skull, there was still no movement. But Dong Xingyang didn't dare to be careless. He slowly bent down and reached out to grab the skull. Battle chi surged in his palm, and his entire body entered a state of alert. There were even bean-sized beads of sweat on his forehead. It could be seen how nervous he was at this moment. Qin Feiyang was also dealing with the white skeletons while firmly locking onto the skull, ready to deal with it at any time. Finally, Dong Xingyang grabbed the skull and lifted it up. The moment the skull left the soil, Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang finally relaxed. It turned out that this was only half a skull. And there was a black hole in the eye socket, without a trace of blood-colored flames. It was obvious that the black skeleton was dead. What a troublesome fellow. Dong Xingyang let out a long sigh of relief with lingering fear. His 5 fingers tightened, and the skull in his hand was immediately crushed into pieces. Then, He left the sinkhole and rushed towards the valley with Qin Feiyang while crushing the white skeletons. Boom! But before they could get close, a loud sound that shook the sky sounded from the valley. What's going on? The two of them were shocked. Boss, come over quickly. The black skeleton in the valley has awakened. Fatso's anxious shout followed closely. What? How could that skeleton have awakened? Who pulled out that battle sword? Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang were furious. They had just finished off this skeleton, and their injuries had yet to recover. Now that the skeleton in the valley had awakened, wouldn't it be adding insult to injury? While he was angry, Qin Feiyang hurriedly took out 2 healing pills and a regeneration pill. After taking the healing pill and regeneration pill, he handed the other healing pill to Dong Xingyang. These pills all had 3 pill veins and had very strong recovery abilities. But even so, their hearts were very heavy. This was because they didn't know the strength of the black skeleton in the valley at all. If it was stronger than the skeleton they killed earlier, then it would definitely be a tough battle later. Boom! The rumbling sound came from the valley again. Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang vaguely saw that the entire valley had collapsed. One figure after another ran out from the collapsed rubble, all in a sorry state. At the same time, there were also screams. The screams were filled with despair and fear. Whoosh! The two of them sped up, wishing that they could grow a few pairs of wings. A few breaths passed. They could finally see Fatso and the others clearly. Everyone's face was filled with panic. Boss, hurry up. After Fatso saw Qin Feiyang, he immediately roared. His body was covered in blood. Obviously. Previously in the valley, he had fought with the black skeleton. The two groups of people gathered together. Dong Xingyang said in a deep voice, "Tell me, what's going on?" "We don't know either." Everyone shook their heads. Dong Xingyang said angrily, "Aren't you in the valley? How can you not know?" Hee. Without waiting for everyone to speak, an ear-piercing laughter suddenly resounded. Everyone looked over and saw a black skeleton walking over step by step, with a murderous aura all over its body. And its bone claws were holding a dark battle sword, shining with a terrifying light. That was the thin sword that was inserted into the rock at the beginning. Damn it! Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang's expressions changed at the same time. Because the aura of this skeleton was even stronger than the one they had killed before. Shenlong, Fatso, you guys clear the way. Jiang Wei, Lu Xingqian, you guys cover the rear. The rest of the 8-star combat emperors and 7-star combat emperors, stand on both sides and protect everyone as we rush to the end of the plain. Remember, if you want to live, you must maintain a good formation. Don't panic. Qin Feiyang quickly made arrangements. What about you? Fatso said anxiously. Dong Xingyang and I will kill it. Now, only by killing it can we eliminate all future troubles. Otherwise, our casualties will be even greater. Qin Feiyang said gloomily, his eyes flashing with murderous intent. Seeing that everyone was hesitating, Dong Xingyang shouted angrily, quickly do as Qin Feiyang said. Otherwise, don't blame us for being ruthless and leaving you guys behind. Chapter 567. Tsk Tisk, when the black skeleton saw the others fleeing, it cackled viciously. It raised its sword and swung it down. A streak of black sword chi instantly pierced through the sky and charged towards Fatty and the others. Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Boom! Both of their auras suddenly exploded. Void's End. Godfiend Seal. An invisible force and a black square seal appeared and shot toward the sword chi at the same time. Boom! A loud explosion rang in the air. Qin Feiyang was sent reeling. His chi and blood surged as he spat out blood. Dong Zhengyang only took a few steps back. A trickle of blood trickled down the corner of his lips. The black skeleton and Dong Zhengyang were in a similar situation. Qin Feiyang, although you're powerful, your cultivation base is still too weak. You can't fight it with your battle techniques. Don't hold back. Go all out. Dong Zhengyang transmitted his voice. Qin Feiyang nodded. He knew that dragging this out would do no good to anyone. More importantly, he was more worried about Fatso and Ren Wushuang. If the black skeleton blocked their way, they would be in grave danger. Therefore, he had to end this quickly. Swoosh! The two of them stepped forward and shot toward the black skeleton. Meanwhile, a towering wave of fire surged out from behind Qin Feiyang. Amid the waves of fire, the nine-leaf fire lotus emitted a destructive aura. Clang! In an instant, 9 fire lotus leaves fell off. They tore through the night sky like 9 shooting stars and shot toward the black skeleton. Ant! The black skeleton's disdainful voice rang in the air. It waved its sword. Dozens of sword chi shot out with shocking sharpness and collided with the 9 fire lotus leaves. Explode! Qin Feiyang shouted. His words were filled with power. The 9 fire lotus leaves exploded at the same time. A destructive force swept out in all directions. The white skeletons in the surroundings were pulverized. The flames in his eyes were instantly extinguished. At the center of the explosion, cracks began to appear all over the black skeleton's bones. This heavy injury shocked and angered it. Clang! Accompanied by an ear-piercing sound, the battle sword released tens of thousands of sword chi and brought the black skeleton out of the explosion area. Walala, but at the same time, a pitch-black iron chain appeared behind Dong Zhengyang. It was as thick as an arm and looked like a python, flickering with black light. As soon as the chain appeared, it streaked across the sky and headed straight for the black skeleton. This was his fighting soul. Seeing Dong Zhengyang's fighting soul, Qin Feiyang's spirits were lifted. Without hesitation, he took out Chang Shui and followed behind the chain, rushing towards the black skeleton. Trash! The black skeleton was still disdainful. The reason for that was because it discovered that the chains did not possess any offensive power. As the iron chain approached, it swung its battle sword and slashed at it. Trash! I can guarantee that you will be shocked soon. The corner of Dong Zhengyang's mouth lifted, pursing a sinister sneer. Next! His mind stirred. The iron chain immediately turned in the air, bypassed the battle sword, and instantly wrapped around the black skeleton's body. Freeze! Immediately, Dong Zhengyang let out a roar. The black skeleton immediately felt an invisible force enveloping it. Its body was actually unable to move. How could this be? The black skeleton was shocked. A dead object is a dead object after all. Even if it has intelligence, it is limited. Die completely. At this moment, Qin Feiyang also rushed to the front of the black skeleton. With a low roar, he suddenly waved the Chang Shui in his hand. Crack! Chang Shui was too terrifying. The black skeleton's skull was like tofu, unable to withstand a single blow. In an instant, the skull was cut into 2 halves, and the flames in its eye sockets were also instantly extinguished. Then, Qin Feiyang slapped out again. His battle chi was like a rainbow, and the black skeleton was shattered on the spot, completely destroyed. Phew! Dong Zhengyang let out a long breath, and the iron chain also dissipated, quickly disappearing without a trace. I didn't expect it to be so difficult to deal with just 2 skeletons. How dangerous is the death swamp behind us? Qin Feiyang whispered, his brows full of worry. Before this, he had always been very confident, but now, he felt that the chances of reaching the other side were a little slim. Don't think about it, let's go. Dong Zhengyang said. Qin Feiyang nodded and put away the Chang Shui. He turned around and killed the white skeleton while chasing after Fatso and the others. If these damn things didn't cause trouble, even if a few more black skeletons came, I wouldn't be afraid. Dong Jingyang was rather angry. Qin Feiyang felt the same. Although they had already found the weaknesses of these skeletons, their numbers were too large and they couldn't kill them all. Whether it was traveling or fighting, it would bring them endless trouble. Dong Jingyang suddenly said, "Do you think Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong are really dead?" "It's possible." Qin Feiyang said, but he wasn't sure. Dong Jingyang sneered, "If they really died, it could be considered a good thing." Both of them were kings of the War Master realm, and were undoubtedly his biggest competitors. Qin Feiyang glanced at Dong Jingyang, but did not deny it. Suddenly, the two of them noticed a corpse lying on the ground in front of them. The two of them took a closer look. It was a young man wearing white clothes with the word "Spirit" embroidered on his chest. Without a doubt, this person was someone who retreated with the main group. His death was especially tragic. However, the two of them ignored him and continued to track Fatso and the others. On the way, they encountered many more corpses. Once you enter the Yellow Springs, you will die 9 times out of 10. Dong Jingyang couldn't help but sigh. In the spiritual state, these people were all heaven-defying existences that countless young people looked up to. However, here, they could only be hunted down. No one even cared about the corpses. How sad. A moment later, the two of them finally caught up to the main group. However, everyone's situation was very bad. Most of them were seriously injured and were barely holding on. Seeing Qin Feiyang and Dong Jingyang rushing over, some of them fell to the ground powerlessly. "Senior brother Qin, senior brother Dong, I really can't hold on any longer." "I can't hold on either. Can you think of a way?" they begged helplessly. Looking at the endless wave of skeletons around them, their hearts were filled with regret and hatred. Why didn't they listen to his advice and insist on coming to this damned place? Qin Feiyang killed the skeletons while scanning everyone. Those who didn't fall to the ground were all covered in wounds and looked like they had no hope of living. Even Fatso, Lu Xingchen, Ren Wushuang, Shenlong, and Jiang Wei, the 2 9-star combat emperors, looked miserable. It wasn't good to continue like this because everyone had lost their morale. In such a cruel environment, losing morale was equivalent to being a dead man. "All of you, stand up. In this place, no one will sympathize with cowards. If you don't get up, I won't care about you. I won't let anyone else care about you. You will stay here and wait for death." Qin Feiyang shouted. Although it was heartless, it was also a way to motivate everyone. And now, this was the only way to motivate everyone. Sure enough. As soon as they heard that he was going to leave them alone, those who were lying on the ground immediately gritted their teeth and got up to join the battle. Because in this world, no one wanted to die. "Shen San!" Qin Feiyang shouted. A young man covered in blood and with shifty eyes quickly ran in front of Qin Feiyang and bowed, "Senior brother Qin, what are your orders?" Qin Feiyang said, "Where are the pills that Dongfang Wuhan gave you?" "It's used up." Shen San hurriedly said, but there was some panic in his eyes. "Is it really used up?" Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold. He had seen all kinds of people. Just by looking at Shen San's eyes, he knew that this person had a guilty conscience. "It's really used up," Shen San said. Qin Feiyang looked at Fatso and asked, "You've been here all this time. Do you know how many pills he gave everyone?" Fatso thought for a moment and said, "It seems that everyone was given one." "How dare you!" Qin Feiyang turned hostile on the spot. He coldly looked at Shen San and said gloomily, "How could Dongfang Wuhan only give you these pills? Hand them all over immediately, or don't blame me for being impolite." Shen San's body and mind trembled. Dongfang Wuhan did give him a lot of top-grade pills, at least tens of thousands of them. But when he saw that Dongfang Wuhan didn't return, he had the idea of embezzling them. Because this place was too terrifying. If he didn't have enough pills, he was afraid that it would be difficult to last until the end. Who would have thought that Qin Feiyang would see through it? Hurry up! Qin Feiyang shouted. However, before his voice fell, Dong Xingyang directly attacked and killed Shen San with one palm. Why are you talking nonsense with this kind of person? Dong Xingyang said coldly, then took out two Qianquan bags from Shen San's arms and checked them. One of the Qianquan bags was directly thrown away by him. The other Qianquan bag was handed over to Ren Wushuang, and Ren Wushuang distributed the pills to everyone. Because Ren Wushuang was the granddaughter of the mansion master, she definitely wouldn't hide them. Don't stop, let's continue. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and led the way with Fatso and Shenlong, while Dong Xingyang, Lu Xingchen and Jiang Wei brought up the rear. Of course. Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang still had to support everyone. As for distributing the pills, Ren Wushuang also called Shen Mei to help. With the support of these top-grade medicinal pills, everyone's injuries finally stabilized, and they were gradually getting better. For a moment, everything was in order. Time passed breath by breath. Finally, the blood moon fell from the sky, and the blood sun slowly rose. However, they still couldn't see the end of the plain, but the crisis was finally over. Because as soon as the blood sun rose, those white skeletons all drilled into the ground. Beside a hill. Someone collapsed on the ground, panting. Someone was lying on the ground on the verge of death. Some people looked at the blood-red sky and laughed foolishly. At this moment, everyone didn't care about their external image at all. They only felt the joy of surviving a disaster. Qin Feiyang and Dong Xingyang stood at the side and scanned the crowd. The worry between their brows never dissipated. It had already been 2 days and 2 nights, but they couldn't even see the shadow of the end of the plain. How much longer would they have to walk? Most importantly, there were only a little over 200 people left when they reached this point. One had to know. There were a total of 550 people this time. In the end, more than half of them had died before even reaching the death swamp. The 2 of them didn't even dare to think about how many more people would be sacrificed next. Dong Xingyang turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said, "Let's go talk." Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. Chapter 568. After walking for dozens of meters, the 2 stopped. Qin Feiyang asked, "What do you want to say?" "Out of 550 people, only 200 are left. If this goes on, we will be wiped out." Dong Xingyang sighed deeply, turned to Qin Feiyang, and cupped his hands. "I hope you can contribute a healing pill with 3 patterns." Qin Feiyang was silent. Dong Xingyang said, "I know, this is a little unfair to you. After all, a pill with 3 patterns is worth a lot." Qin Feiyang waved his hand to interrupt Dong Xingyang, shook his head, and said, "I'm not thinking about this. It's just a healing pill, I don't care. I'm just thinking, you treated them as cannon fodder at the beginning, so why are you helping them now?" "At the beginning, I did treat them as cannon fodder. But seeing them die one by one, I really can't bear to say that you don't believe me." Dong Xingyang sighed. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Xingyang in surprise. It seemed that this person, although cold and heartless on the outside, was quite benevolent and righteous on the inside. "I believe your words. I can contribute a healing pill, but to be honest, I don't have many medicinal herbs." Qin Feiyang said. "How can that be? According to your character, you should have prepared a lot of medicinal herbs before coming to the 9 underworlds." Dong Xingyang frowned. Speaking of this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel bitter in his heart. He said, "I won't hide it from you. During the period before the War of the Nine Provinces started, Fatty and I had been locked up in the prison by the mansion master. There was such a thing. Dong Jingyang was surprised. Yes, Wang Hong personally guarded us during that time. When the Battle of the Nine Provinces began, Wang Hong took us directly into the inner hall. I didn't have time to buy medicinal herbs. Qin Feiyang said helplessly. Dong Jingyang stared blankly at Qin Feiyang. When he came back to his senses, he joked, I was wondering why you suddenly disappeared. So he went to enjoy life in prison. Enjoy life? Qin Feiyang's face twitched. I'm just joking. Don't take it seriously. You don't have to worry about the herbs. Who here doesn't have some herbs? Just make them hand it over. I believe that no one will refuse. If they refuse, then they are really a bunch of idiots who are not worthy of our protection. Dong Jingyang said. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. Dong Jingyang said, there's one more thing. What? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Ren Wuxuang. She's only a 3-star combat emperor. It's too dangerous to leave her outside. It's better to send her to your castle. After all, if anything happens to her and the old man pursues the matter, we won't be able to escape the blame. Dong Jingyang said. He had been to the castle before and knew what kind of place it was. You don't have to worry about her. Do you remember the pill I gave you before? Qin Feiyang laughed. Dong Jingyang said, you mean, the pill that allowed me to break through to the War Master? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. So that's how it is. It seems that your relationship with Ren Wuxuang is not as simple as it seems on the surface. Dong Jingyang said meaningfully. Qin Feiyang smiled but did not say anything. Dong Jingyang looked at him deeply, his gaze suddenly darkened, and said coldly, now that we've finished discussing this matter, it's time to drag that person out. Indeed. If we don't get rid of this kind of person, it will only attract more trouble. Qin Feiyang's eyes also became incomparably cold. The two of them turned around and returned to the resting area. Seeing their expressions, everyone was bewildered. Could it be that something had happened? Dong Jingyang swept his gaze across everyone and shouted, Speak, who pulled out the battle sword in the valley? Battle sword? Everyone looked at each other, not saying anything for a moment, their eyes filled with confusion. Qin Feiyang and I went to observe. As long as we don't pull out the battle sword, the skeleton won't wake up. So, someone must have pulled out that battle sword while no one was paying attention. And this kind of person who only cares about his own selfish interests and doesn't care about the safety of others must be eliminated. Dong Jingyang said in a deep voice, a cold light surging in his eyes. At the same time, Qin Feiyang scanned everyone's faces, observing the changes in their expressions. However, in the end, there was no panic or fear on these people's faces. There was only anger. Could it be that it's not them? Qin Feiyang frowned, and looked at Fatso. You were in the valley at that time, did you notice anything? No. Fatso shook his head and said, at that time, we were all at the entrance, watching the battle between you and the black skeleton. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Xingqian, Ren Wuxuang, and Shen Mei. The three of them also shook their heads. That's strange. Qin Feiyang frowned. What should we do? If we can't find this person now, who knows what trouble will come in the future? Dong Jingyang asked telepathically. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and whispered, is it possible that the black skeleton will wake up on its own without pulling out the battle sword? Dong Jingyang was silent for a moment. Now that things had developed to this point, he did not dare to make a rash judgment. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, forget it, let's not think about it. Just be careful in the future. That's the only way. Dong Jingyang nodded and looked at everyone, hurry up and recuperate. We'll set off in an hour. In addition, Qin Feiyang and I have discussed before. Hand over all the medicinal herbs you have, and Qin Feiyang will refine pills for you. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. As everyone knew, Qin Feiyang could refine supreme-grade pills with 3 elixir patterns. With his help, their chances of survival would undoubtedly be higher. But everyone was a little afraid. Because they were afraid that Qin Feiyang would embezzle them. So for a moment, no one took the initiative to take out the medicinal herbs. Are you still doubting him? I just don't understand. Why do you have a pair of eyes? Can't you see that Qin Feiyang is sincerely helping everyone? Just these 2 times, if it weren't for his help, all of you would have died in the hands of those 2 black skeletons. Dong Jingyang shouted angrily. Everyone lowered their heads, unable to make a decision for a moment. Forget it. You can do whatever you want. But I have to make it clear in advance. Those who don't hand over the medicinal herbs can forget about getting half a pill from Qin Feiyang. Dong Jingyang snorted coldly and took the lead to take out a large pile of medicinal herbs from his Qiankuan bag. Although I'm also a supreme-grade alchemist, I hope that Qin Feiyang will refine the pills. Lu Xingqian smiled and took out a pile of medicinal herbs. Shen Mei and Ren Wushuang looked at each other and each took out a pile of medicinal herbs. Seeing this scene, everyone's heart trembled. One had to know. Dong Jingyang and Lu Xingqian both had a grudge against Qin Feiyang. Although the 3 of them usually didn't mention this matter and didn't see Dong Jingyang and Lu Xingqian seeking revenge on Qin Fei, there was definitely still a gap in their hearts. But now, the 2 of them handed over the medicinal herbs without hesitation. It could be seen that in this cruel environment, they had tacitly chosen to temporarily put aside their previous grudges and unite to overcome the difficulties together. Suddenly, Su Yang got up and said, "Can I make a request?" "Say it." Dong Jingyang said. Su Yang said, "All the medicinal herbs and pills will be kept by Ren Wushuang." Obviously, he still didn't trust Qin Feiyang. This, Dong Jingyang hesitated and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. "It doesn't matter." Qin Feiyang shrugged his shoulders. This time, everyone was finally completely relieved and took out the medicinal herbs one after another. Ren Wushuang also walked in front of everyone and took away the medicinal herbs one by one. Fatso frowned and walked to Qin Feiyang's side and said discontentedly, "Boss, what are you doing? Looking for trouble for yourself? What are you talking about?" Ren Wushuang had just finished collecting the medicinal herbs and came to Qin Feiyang's side. As soon as he heard Fatso's words, he immediately glared at Fatso fiercely. Is Fat Lord wrong? Since they don't believe in Boss, why should he refine pills for them? Besides, everyone knows that Boss has a rule for refining pills, 50-50. Have they mentioned this now? In Fat Lord's opinion, in their hearts, Boss refining pills for them is a matter of course. Fatso sneered. Shen Mei said helplessly, "Isn't this a special time?" Fatso said, "It's precisely because it's a special time that we should make it more clear. Besides, we're not philanthropists, why should we?" Okay, stop talking. I can also understand Fatso's feelings. After all, Qin Feiyang is not refining ordinary pills. Let's split it 50-50. Does anyone have any objections? Dong Jingyang looked at everyone and asked. Everyone looked at each other and shook their heads one after another. In this situation, did they dare to have any objections? Because with Qin Feiyang's character, it was already merciful for him to refine pills for them. How could they dare to expect anything else? Next, Fatso and Shen Mei assisted Ren Wushuang to organize the medicinal herbs. Qin Feiyang first took a portion of the medicinal herbs for the healing pill and entered the castle to refine it. Half an hour passed quickly. Qin Feiyang also came out of the castle and handed a Qiankuan bag to Ren Wushuang. Ren Wushuang looked at the pills in the Qiankuan bag and her beautiful eyes suddenly widened. Then, she looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. Qin Feiyang smiled. Ren Wuxuang rolled her eyes at him and looked at everyone. You guys got a big advantage this time. No one denied it. Because only the medicinal herbs, they could get a pill with 3 pill veins. It was indeed a big advantage. But when Ren Wuxuang took out the pill, the whole place suddenly fell into dead silence. Everyone's face was filled with disbelief. Then, everyone became excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. That was because the healing pill didn't have 3 pill veins, but 4. He can actually refine a pill with 4 pill veins. Everyone's hearts trembled. 4 pill veins, this was the first time in their lives that they had seen it. They had made a huge profit. With this pill, why would they worry about not being able to get out of this plane? Even Dong Zhengyang was quite excited. Ren Wuxuang said, "Come to me to receive it. 1 for each of you first, and the rest will be distributed slowly later." Immediately, everyone lined up in an orderly manner and went to Ren Wuxuang to receive the pills one by one. After distributing the pills, Fatso sneered, "Now tell Fat Lord, are you still dissatisfied in your hearts?" Everyone laughed embarrassedly and couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt in their hearts. "Alright, we've got the pills. It's time for us to set off. But before we leave, I want to warn some people not to stir up trouble again." Dong Xingyang glanced at the crowd and focused on Su Yang and Wu Yan. The two of them trembled and lowered their heads, not daring to look directly at Dong Xingyang. "Let's go." Dong Xingyang waved his hand and was about to leave. "Wait for us." But at this moment. Chapter 569. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. Why did this voice sound so familiar? The others were also surprised. Everyone turned around and saw 2 blurry white figures galloping over from afar. Why do they look like senior brother Wuhan and senior brother Murong Xiong? Someone asked suspiciously. Aren't they dead? Another person raised his doubts. As the distance kept getting closer and closer, everyone finally saw the true faces of the 2 people clearly. It was really Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong. Qin Feiyang and Dong Zhengyang looked at each other, and a glimmer of light flashed in the depths of their eyes. Soon, Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong arrived in front of everyone, panting. Both of them had disheveled hair and dirty faces, and their tattered clothes were full of bloodstains. They looked extremely miserable. "Senior brother Wuhan, senior brother Murong, what happened to you? Where did you go last night? We all thought you were dead." Wu Yan and Su Yang hurriedly ran up and asked with concern. Dongfang Wuhan took a few deep breaths, shook his head, and sighed. "It's a long story. Last night, Murong Xiong and I went to kill that skeleton, but we didn't expect that the 2 of us together were still no match for it." "And then?" Su Yang asked. "We could only choose to escape. We wanted to find you, but we didn't know where you were hiding, so we hid first. Later, we faintly heard the sound of battle. We thought it must be you, so we immediately rushed over. But there were too many white skeletons on the way, and we were all seriously injured. By the time we arrived, you had already left. Then we tracked you all the way until now." Dongfang Wuhan sighed. Wu Yan said, "Thank you for your hard work. If we had known that you were not dead, we would definitely have waited for you. It's okay. It's just that not only did we not help, but we also put you in danger. I'm really sorry." Dongfang Wuhan blamed himself. At this time, Dong Zhengyang said, "That black skeleton was killed by Qin Feiyang and me. Its strength is not very good. With the 2 of you, you shouldn't have escaped, right?" When Dongfang Wuhan heard this, his face was full of helplessness. "It's my fault," Murong Xiong said expressionlessly. Dongfang Wuhan nodded and said, "It was indeed because he was too arrogant that we suffered a crushing defeat. But now, he already knows his mistake, so I ask everyone to forgive him." Su Yang chuckled and said, "It's great that you can learn from your mistakes. Who gives you the right to speak?" Murong Xiong raised his eyebrows, his gaze extremely unfriendly. Su Yang immediately shrunk his neck, his face full of fear. "All right." Dong Xingyang gestured with his hands, and the crowd quieted down. Dong Xingyang looked at Dongfang Wuhan and said, "Since you have already returned, you can make the arrangements." Dongfang Wuhan said, "There's nothing much to arrange. Take advantage of the fact that there are no skeletons during the day, let's move forward at full speed." Wu Yan frowned and said, "Senior brother Wuhan, don't you want to rest first? I can't drag everyone down because of me. I can recuperate while traveling. Let's go." Dongfang Wuhan waved his hand, and everyone immediately used their fastest speed to rush towards the end of the plane. Dong Xingyang was walking in the front row, and his eyes would occasionally glance at Dongfang Wuhan and Dong Xingyang. After a moment, a light flashed in the depths of his eyes, and he sent a sound transmission to Qin Feiyang behind him. "Did you find anything wrong?" Qin Feiyang shook his head without leaving a trace. At first, he also suspected that the two might have deliberately escaped, wanting to use the black skeleton to get rid of them. He even suspected that the battle sword in the valley might have been pulled out by the two of them when no one was paying attention. But the words of the two before were flawless. Because with Murong Xiong's character, when fighting with the black skeleton, it was indeed possible that he would act arrogantly. Therefore, he couldn't be sure. Of course, these suspicions definitely couldn't be spoken out, otherwise it would inevitably cause even greater disagreement. Take Wu Yan and Su Yang for example. During the period when Dongfang Wuhan and Dong Xingyang were not here, they were particularly well behaved, but as soon as the two of them came back, their demeanor and behavior immediately changed. It could be seen that many people here were on their side. Time flew by. Night soon fell. Everyone was ready for battle in advance. Moreover, with the healing pills with 4 patterns, even though they had been on the road for an entire day, everyone was in high spirits. So, when the white skeleton crawled out of the ground, they weren't as flustered as they were the previous 2 nights. But casualties were inevitable. "Look, there's another battle sword over there." In the middle of the night, Fatso's exclamation suddenly sounded. Everyone was immediately shocked. They looked in the direction Fatso was pointing and saw a small mound 20 meters away on the right. In the blink of an eye, it looked like a tomb. In the center of the mound, there was a rusty battle sword. Dongfang Wuhan said anxiously, "Don't touch it, let's go." "Wait." But at this moment, Qin Feiyang suddenly spoke as he looked at the battle sword. His eyes were sparkling. Everyone looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang said, "I want to know, will the black skeleton wake up on its own?" Hearing this, a few people present immediately understood Qin Feiyang's intention. These people were Dong Xingyang, Lu Xingchen, and Fatso. Dongfang Wuhan said, "Junior brother Qin, I know you have the ability to kill the black skeleton, but it's best not to take this risk. After all, you're not the only one here. There's still everyone here." "That's right. You can't let everyone take the risk with you just because of your momentary curiosity." Su Yang and Wu Yan followed. Qin Feiyang said, "You guys can leave first. I alone am enough." Dongfang Wuhan said flatly, "That's even more impossible. We've already suffered heavy casualties. What if something happens to you again?" "Qin Feiyang, although you refine top-grade pills for us, I still have to say something fair. Senior brother Wuhan is doing this for your own good. Don't be so tactless." Su Yang said solemnly. Dong Xingyang glanced at Su Yang and said indifferently, "Don't worry, I will stay and accompany Qin Feiyang because I also want to know." "You." Su Yang was furious. But at this moment, Dongfang Wuhan said helplessly, "Well, since you insist on staying, then I can't say anything more. But remember, after you figure it out, you must immediately come and join us because our team can't do without you. Qin Feiyang and Wu Yan nodded. Boss, I want to stay too. Fatso said in a low voice. No. Follow them. First, protect Ren Wuxuan. Second, monitor Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong. Qin Feiyang said in a voice that only the two of them could hear. Okay. Fatso nodded reluctantly. Immediately, Qin Feiyang and Dong Zhengyang left the team. While fighting with the white skeleton, they approached the small mound. Dongfang Wuhan continued to lead the team forward. After the team disappeared into the night sky, Dong Zhengyang said solemnly, as long as we can confirm that this skeleton won't wake up on its own, then we can be sure that the battle sword in the valley was pulled out by Dongfang Wuhan and the others. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, we can't be so sure. How can you not be sure? Other than us, there are only people from the other 8 provinces in the 9 Nether Yellow Springs. But they are not in the same direction as us, so it naturally can't be them. At that time, we were fighting with Black Skeleton, and Fatso and the others were also at the entrance. Only Dongfang Wuhan and Wu Yan disappeared. If it wasn't them, who else could it be? Dong Zhengyang sneered. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, let's wait until we figure it out before coming to a conclusion. During the conversation, the two of them arrived at the small mound like a hot knife through butter. The white skeletons around them didn't dare to approach. They surrounded them 5 meters away. The flames in their eye sockets jumped rapidly, as if they were threatening Qin Feiyang and Wu Yan. Time passed breath by breath. The two of them stood in front of the small mound, but after hundreds of breaths, the skeleton inside the small mound didn't move at all. Dong Zhengyang raised his eyebrows and shouted, hey, if you don't come out, we will dig your grave and destroy your bones. But after a long while, there was still no movement. Dong Zhengyang tried to step on the small mound a few more times, but the skeleton still showed no signs of waking up. Could it be that there were no skeletons inside? The two of them looked at each other, their eyes filled with doubt. Dong Zhengyang said via voice transmission, why don't you pull out your battle sword and give it a try? Sure. But we have to be prepared in advance. We must kill it quickly when it comes out. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice. Okay. Same as always. I'll activate my battle soul, and you use that dagger to kill it. Dong Zhengyang thought to himself. Qin Feiyang nodded and took out the Chang Shui. At the same time, Dong Zhengyang also activated his battle soul, then walked up and pulled out his battle sword. TSK, human, fresh blood, immediately. A sinister laugh came from within the mound of dirt. The two of them felt a chill in their hearts. Boom! Following closely, the small mound exploded with a loud bang, causing mud to splatter everywhere as a black shadow rushed out. But at the same time, the iron chains behind Dong Zhengyang, with a loud crashing sound, pierced through the air like lightning and wrapped around the black shadow's body. Freeze! Following Dong Zhengyang's low shout, the black shadow immediately revealed its true form. It was indeed a black skeleton. Just as Dong Zhengyang froze the black skeleton, Qin Feiyang also pounced forward. Crack! Chang Shui was like a graceful swan, instantly cutting through the black skeleton's skull and shattering the flames in its eye sockets. Before it could even see the appearance of Qin Feiyang and Dong Zhengyang, the black skeleton was completely dead. As soon as the black skeleton died, the battle sword in Dong Zhengyang's hand also split into 4 or 5 pieces with a clang. Ah! The two of them were shocked. Human, blood, at the same time. The white skeletons around him uttered hoarse words intermittently, as if ghosts were roaring. It was incomparably terrifying. Then, they swarmed forward. Humph! Dong Zhengyang snorted coldly, turned around and struck out with both hands. His battle chi was like a rainbow, turning into a dark arrow, carrying an astonishing destructive power, shooting towards the eyes of the skeletons. In an instant, a large number of them fell. Qin Feiyang's methods were not inferior to Dong Xingyang's. What should we do next? Dong Xingyang asked while killing the skeletons. It turned out that the battle sword was like a seal. Only when the battle sword was pulled out would the black skeleton wake up. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said, "Don't be in a hurry to turn hostile. Let's wait until we find evidence. Otherwise, the two of us will be ostracized by everyone. These two bastards have sinister intentions. They should be killed." Dong Xingyang's eyes surged with a cold light. At first, when I heard Lu Xingchen say that Dongfang Wuhan was not a good person, I didn't believe it, but I didn't expect that he was really a hypocritical villain. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. Chapter 570. Half an hour later, Qin Feiyang and Su Wuhan caught up with the rest of the team. Fatso immediately asked, "Boss, how is it?" Qin Feiyang said, "You need to pull out the sword before the black skeleton wakes up." There was no need to hide this kind of thing. Of course, he wouldn't directly point the finger at Dongfang Wuhan and Su Wuhan. Fatso said in surprise, "So, the person who pulled out the sword in the valley was indeed, ahem." Qin Feiyang coughed and interrupted Fatso. Fatso was stunned, but then he understood. He glanced at the crowd and shouted, "Who is it? Come out. It's not me. It's not me either." Everyone spoke one after another. Fatso looked at everyone and suddenly turned his eyes to Wu Yan and Su Yang, saying, "Fat Lord now seriously suspects that you two are behind this. Fatso, don't talk nonsense and slander good people. What evidence do you have that it's us?" The two of them were furious. "You're good people. Everyone has seen what you've done along the way. You're just selfish villains. Fat Lord firmly believes that except for the two of you, no one else would do such a thing to harm everyone." Fatso sneered. Su Yang roared, "Bastard, I want to duel with you. Do you think Fat Lord is really afraid of you? Okay, Fat Lord will accompany you." Fatso rolled up his sleeves and looked fierce, as if he was ready to go all out. "Enough. Junior brother Fatty, it's useless if you don't have evidence. Su Yang, Wu Yan, you two should also stop talking." Dongfang Wuhan said at this time. Qin Feiyang glanced at Dongfang Wuhan, and his eyes flashed slightly. He patted Fatso on the shoulder and said, "Don't make wild guesses without real evidence." "I didn't say anything." Fatso shrugged. Everyone continued forward. As for this farce, it was deliberately created by Fatso. Because of this, it meant that their suspects were Su Yang and Murong Xiong. The real culprits, Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong, would inevitably relax their vigilance. Once they let down their guard, the two of them would give themselves away sooner or later. Unknowingly, dawn was approaching. Even though there were healing pills with 4 pill veins, after a night of hard fighting, everyone was exhausted. Dongfang Wuhan looked towards the horizon. The blood moon was descending and the blood sun was about to rise. Immediately after, he shouted, "The sky is about to brighten. Everyone, hold on for a little longer." Everyone nodded. As long as they persevered until dawn, they could have a good rest. Is Fat Lord seeing things? At this moment, Fatso suddenly exclaimed. "What?" Everyone looked at him in surprise. Fatso pointed ahead and said, "Don't look at Fat Lord. Look ahead. Doesn't that look like a forest? Jungle?" Everyone was stunned for a moment before they became excited. If there was a forest in front of them, it meant that they had probably reached the death swamp. Everyone looked ahead one after another. But the sky was still dark. Coupled with the blood mist blocking their line of sight, they couldn't see clearly. They could only see a hazy shadow. "It looks like a forest," someone said. Dongfang Wuhan shouted, let's go and take a look. The group of people moved forward quickly with anxiety and anticipation. After a dozen breaths, the scenery in front of them finally entered everyone's line of sight. It was indeed a dense, desolate forest. Ancient trees towered into the sky, like large emerald umbrellas. Thick vines, like pythons, wrapped around the ancient trees, looking incomparably strong. And on the ground, there were also weeds and bushes. The overall feeling it gave people was very desolate, very mysterious, and very gloomy. Before they even got close, they already felt afraid. Someone shouted, look, there's a stone tablet over there. Everyone looked in the direction that the person was pointing. At the edge of the forest, there was indeed a stone tablet erected. It was about 5 or 6 meters tall and engraved with 4 bold and powerful words. Death Swamp. We've finally arrived at the Death Swamp. I don't see any skeletons in the swamp. Let's hide in there. Everyone was very excited. Some people even suggested. Don't go. We don't know what's in the Death Swamp. It's almost dawn, there's no need to take the risk. Lu Xingchen said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyang also agreed with Lu Xingchen's words. Even Wang Hong was afraid of the Death Swamp, how could it be safe? It was best to wait until dawn, when everyone had recovered to their peak state before going in. No matter how dangerous the Death Swamp is, it's not as dangerous as these skeletons, right? There's still some time before dawn. If we continue to waste time like this, there will definitely be more casualties. Senior brother Wuhan, we all agreed to enter the Death Swamp. But everyone didn't listen at all and pleaded with Dongfang Wuhan. Dongfang Wuhan struggled for a moment and nodded, okay, let's go in. But remember, we must not lower our guard. Immediately, the group of people entered the Death Swamp in a grandiose manner. But Lu Xingchen didn't enter the Death Swamp. Qin Feiyang and Fatso looked at each other and didn't go in. Ren Wushuang, Shen Mei, and Dong Zhengyang. Seeing that Qin Feiyang and the other 2 didn't go in, they also didn't go in. In the end, only the 6 of them were left outside to fight with the skeletons. As for those skeletons, the Death Swamp seemed to be their forbidden zone, so they didn't chase after them. All of them surrounded Qin Feiyang and the others. The ground is very solid, it's not a swamp. There's always a way out. The people who entered the swamp couldn't help but laugh out loud after surveying their surroundings. At the same time, Dongfang Wuhan turned to look at Qin Feiyang and the others, and advised, there's no danger here for the time being, you guys should also come in and rest. Senior brother Wuhan, why are you persuading them? They like to fight with skeletons, so let them kill. Don't say, as an outsider, I suddenly find these skeletons quite cute. Senior brother Qin, senior brother Dong, you guys can do it. We will definitely support you in spirit to kill them all. Looking at Qin Feiyang and the others who were surrounded by skeletons, everyone crossed their arms in front of their chests and didn't hide their sarcasm. Shen Mei looked at Dongfang Wuhan and the others. Indeed, nothing had happened. She couldn't help but be tempted and whispered, why don't we go in? Caution is the parent of safety. I won't take the risk. Lu Xingchen shook his head. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and looked at Shen Mei, what brother Lu said is not without reason. Hold on a little longer. Okay. Shen Mei nodded. Alas. Why don't you listen to my advice? Fine, do as you wish. Hearing Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen's words, Dongfang Wuhan couldn't help but sigh. He turned to Wu Yan and the others and said, don't waste time, quickly rest. Okay. Wu Yan shouted. Su Yang jokingly said, while resting, you can also watch the show. This treatment is not bad. Fatso's eyes darkened as he sneered, let's see how proud you can be. Although I don't know what will happen in the future, at least for now, we have the capital to be proud. You guys continue, we're waiting to see. The two of them laughed wildly. Fatso clenched his fists tightly, making cracking sounds. Qin Feiyang glanced at the two of them, turned to Fatso and said, "Ignore them." "That's right." Lu Xingqian nodded and said, "For these ignorant idiots, only death can make them realize." Die. It's hard to say who will die. But before you die, you'd better return the medicinal herbs to us. Wu Yan and Su Yang sneered. Haha, but suddenly. A loud laughter rang out in this place, echoing between heaven and earth for a long time. Who is it? Dongfang Wuhan and the others were shocked. They all turned around and looked at the forest behind them. Because the laughter came from there. There's someone. At the same time, Qin Feiyang and the other 5 outside were also very surprised. Could it be another skeleton? No. Boss, this voice is a bit familiar. Fatso suddenly said. Familiar? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and listened carefully to the echo. Seeing Qin Feiyang and Su Yang, Dong Zhengyang and the other 3 looked at each other. Those 2 simple words sounded familiar, but at this moment, they contained an extremely important message. That was, the owner of this laughter was not a skeleton, but a person. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled, and he said in a deep voice, "It's him." Fatso nodded and said, "Yes, it's him." Who? Dong Zhengyang and the other 3 looked at the two of them in surprise. I didn't expect there to be so many idiots in the spiritual state. Qin Feiyang was about to speak, but the loud laughter rang out again. That's right. I was quite worried at first. But now, it seems that I was worrying for nothing. Another voice sounded. This was a woman's voice, with a strong sense of sarcasm. It's really them, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Fatso whispered. Murong Xiong shouted, "Who the hell is it? Don't pretend to be mysterious, come out and die." Die? Who gave you the guts to say such arrogant words? Ice Elephant's fury. The woman's stern voice rang out in the forest, followed by a monstrous aura. Boom! Crack! The next moment. In the forest on the left, a series of loud noises came out. The ancient tree was shattered, the earth cracked, and a huge ice elephant was as fast as lightning, crushing everything. Battle Master. Dong Zhengyang's face changed. Although he hadn't seen the real person yet, from the aura emitted by the ice elephant, he could tell that the person who used this battle technique was a battle master powerhouse who was not inferior to him in the slightest. Murong Xiong and Dongfang Wuhan's faces also changed, and they shouted in unison, "Be alert! Barbarian Bull Strike!" At the same time, Murong Xiong took a step forward and waved his hands. A yellow barbarian bull instantly appeared out of thin air. Its body was more than 100 feet long, like a small mountain, emitting an astonishing ferocious aura. Moo! Then, the barbarian bull raised its head and roared, then swooped down towards the ice elephant. It also crushed the ancient tree, tore the earth, and was unstoppable. Boom! The 2 giant beasts crashed into each other, and the land within a radius of a few thousand meters was instantly turned into ashes. So you have some strength, no wonder you dare to be so arrogant. But will you be able to withstand their next attack? Chapter 571. Them. Could it be that there are more than 2 people? Dongfang Wuhan and the others turned pale with fright. Boom! Sure enough. A terrifying aura erupted from the forest on the right and in front at the same time. And they were all war masters. Counting the mysterious woman on the left, that was the 3 war masters. Clang! In the next moment. On the right, a huge yellow sword flew over, emitting an unparalleled sharpness. In front, a blood-red blade flew over, overflowing with blood light, drowning the sky. At the same time. On the left, another ice elephant appeared. It was ferocious and powerful, shocking everyone. Not good. These are 3 superior battle arts. Dong Jingyang, Qin Feiyang, quickly come and help. Dongfang Wuhan shouted without turning his head as he evolved the battle arts. What should we do? Dong Jingyang looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, do you think that there is still a need to pay attention to them? What Lu Xingqian said was right. Only death could make these fools realize their mistakes. Dong Jingyang was stunned, shook his head and smiled, indeed, there is no need. Then he looked at Dongfang Wuhan and sighed, I'm sorry, we can't even protect ourselves right now. We really have no time to help you. Damn it. Dongfang Wuhan cursed and shouted to Wu Yan and the others behind him, leave the swamp immediately. The group of people did not dare to hesitate and immediately turned to flee. However, the few people who ran to the front suddenly cried out in alarm and were bounced back, falling to the ground in a sorry state. There was a trace of blood at the corner of their mouths. What's going on? Everyone was shocked and stopped in unison. Looking at the junction of the plains and the swamp, their faces were full of bewilderment. Not good. Between the plains and the swamp, there is an invisible force preventing us from leaving the swamp. Senior brother Wuhan, senior brother Murong, what should we do? The people who had been sent flying were at first confused, but then they quickly got up and roared at Dongfang Wuhan and Dongfang Wuhan. What? Invisible force. Everyone's face suddenly turned pale. In other words, as long as one entered the death swamp, there was no turning back. Dongfang Wuhan and Dongfang Wuhan were also burning with anxiety. They never thought that such a situation would happen. If he had listened to Lu Xingqian's advice, he wouldn't have been so passive now. But it was too late for regrets. I'll block the giant sword. Murong Xiong, you block the ice elephant. Everyone else, join hands and block that bloody blade. Remember to block it. Dongfang Wuhan roared. In front of him was a golden arrow that was several zhang long and as thick as an arm. It emitted a resplendent golden light. Sun-breaking arrow, kill. Following his roar, the golden arrow pierced through the sky, carrying with it a world-destroying sharpness as it slammed into the earthen yellow sword. In the meantime, Murong Xiong once again transformed into a raging bull and crashed into the ice elephant. Wu Yan, Shen Long, and the other 200 people also executed their battle arts and attacked the bloody blades. For a moment. In this forest, battle chi was dazzling. All kinds of battle arts were like shooting stars, and their momentum was vast and mighty. Even from tens of miles away, they could sense the commotion here. Rumble. After a few breaths, the two sides' battle arts collided with a loud bang. Unsurprisingly, Dongfang Wuhan's battle arts shattered at the same time as the earthen yellow sword and ice elephant. They were evenly matched. But Wu Yan and the others' battle arts were no match for the bloody blades. Although in terms of numbers, Wu Yan and the others had the absolute advantage, but compared to the bloody blades, the difference in power could be said to be like heaven and earth. The bloody blades were like a hot knife through butter, crazily crushing wave after wave of battle arts, heading straight for Dongfang Wuhan and the others. Not good. Dongfang Wuhan's expression changed as he hurriedly executed his battle art again, sun-breaking arrow. Because if he didn't stop the bloody blades, then the final outcome would definitely be heavy casualties. However, just as the sun-breaking arrow was formed, the bloody blades came slashing down. The situation was extremely dangerous. Dongfang Wuhan gritted his teeth and waved his big hand. The sun-breaking arrow blasted towards the bloody blades. The two battle arts met above their heads. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening loud noise, a destructive wave of air rushed out in all directions. Wu Yan and the others bore the brunt of it and were directly submerged by the air waves. Suddenly, Miserable screams rang out incessantly, resounding through the sky. Although they all had good cultivation, one must know that this was a confrontation between battle masters. How could they withstand it? Dongfang Wuhan shouted, "Murong Xiong, quickly protect everyone. Just a group of cannon fodder, is it worth me risking my life to protect them?" However, Murong Xiong smiled mercilessly and left without even looking back. Bastard! Dongfang Wuhan cursed again and again, his eyes filled with struggle. But in the end, he also turned around and fled. The escape of the two could be said to be a disaster for the others. That wave of air was earth-shattering, like a giant storm. People were constantly being strangled, and broken corpses and broken limbs flew all over the sky. Blood dyed the void red, dyeing the earth red. Before they died, they were filled with regret. Why didn't they listen to Lu Xingqian's advice? And why did they have to mess around with Dongfang Wuhan, this unreliable person with no leadership ability? Hate. Regret. This was the realization that they had exchanged their lives for. But now that they had realized it, it was useless. Ren Wushuang said anxiously, "Feiyang, we can no longer sit back and watch. If this continued, they would definitely be wiped out, and not a single one would be left. I'll go." Dong Xingyang gritted his teeth, slapped away the skeleton in front of him, and entered the swamp of death without hesitation. As soon as he entered, the battle chi in his body surged out, forming a huge barrier. Those who were not dead were all enveloped inside, protecting them. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and also resolutely entered the swamp of death. The moment he entered, he raised his arm and patted the air. Immediately, a bright golden light gushed out from his palm, like a wave, rushing towards the air waves that trapped Dong Xingyang and the others. A shocking scene unfolded before their eyes. Wherever the golden light passed, the air waves turned in the air and rushed towards the forest in front. But at the same time, Qin Feiyang's body also trembled violently, and blood spurted out from his mouth. His arm was instantly smashed. Fortunately, the air waves were driven away, and everyone was able to escape. When the dust settled, there were only about 50 people left alive. Without exception, all of them were covered in wounds, breathing weakly, and their faces were pale. Fatso and the other three also entered the swamp, standing behind Qin Feiyang. Looking at Wu Yan and the others, they had an indescribable feeling in their hearts. Whoosh! At this moment, 3 figures rushed out of the forest and stood side by side on a small hill, only a dozen meters away from Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang looked up. As expected, it was 3 familiar people. Yan Tianfeng, Mo Wuxian, and Pan Wuyan. The 3 kings of Yunzhou. Who are you? Why are you so cruel? Wu Yan glanced at the 3 people, and his blood-stained face twisted. Cruel. Pan Wuyan sneered and said, "You're too naive. This is the war of the 9 states, not a game. From now on, it's either you or us." Wu Yan said angrily, "You're right, but you, what about us? Sneak attack. Villain. What a joke. The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Everyone only sees the glory of the winner, and no one cares about the death of losers like you." Pan Wuyan sneered. Wu Yan fell silent. The others also fell silent. Indeed. As long as they could win, it didn't matter whether the method was glorious or not. "You're stupid enough." Yan Tianfeng sneered and pointed at Lu Xingqian, but he looked at Wu Yan and the others and said, "He repeatedly advised you not to come in, but you insisted. Aren't you courting death? The most important thing is that the spiritual state chose a good captain. You actually abandoned your fellow disciples at the critical moment. I really don't know what your mansion master thinks." Yan Tianfeng laughed presumptuously. Hearing this, Ren Wushuang's face suddenly filled with anger. "Don't be angry. Qin Feiyang comforted in a low voice. He looked at Yan Tianfeng and the other two and said with a faint smile, no matter how bad our mansion master is, he's still better than your mansion master. The three's eyes turned cold. Mo Wuxian looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "You're Qin Feiyang?" Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Of course." Mo Wuxian's eyes immediately turned cold and said, "Do you know what Master told us before we came to the 9 underworlds?" Master? Dong Xingyang and the others were shocked. Could this person be the mansion master's disciple? Of course, Qin Feiyang already knew that Mo Wuxian was the mansion master's disciple. He wasn't surprised at all and said calmly, "Tell me." Mo Wuxian said, "Master told us to kill you in the 9 underworlds." Qin Feiyang said in surprise, "That old witch is so concerned about me. Shouldn't I be honored?" Honored? Mo Wuxian and the others looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh, but it was a laugh of ridicule. Is this person an idiot? How could he feel honored? He really doesn't know what he's talking about. Mo Wuxian stopped laughing and said, "Since things have come to this, why don't you tell us the truth? Are Ma San and Xia Hai in disguise? Are you the one who stole the alchemy fire of the inner palace?" Wu Yan and the others looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Qin Feiyang glanced at Mo Wuxian and the others and the corners of his mouth gradually rose. He nodded and said, "Yes, it's me." As Mo Wuxian said, there was no need to hide it now. Mo Wuxian immediately laughed. Amazing. A mere 8-star combat emperor broke into the Cloud Prefecture and stole 2 alchemy fires of the Cloud Prefecture, killed dozens of geniuses of the Inner Palace, and even killed Commander Nye. However, it wasn't until now that they found out the identity of this person. What a great irony. The hearts of Wu Yan and the others were filled with shock. Did this guy eat a leopard's guts? He went to the Cloud Prefecture and stole the alchemy fire of the Inner Palace. He's really a lawless devil. Qin Feiyang swallowed a regeneration pill. He looked at the three of them and said, "I reckon that you guys really want to kill me right now. Especially you, Mo Wuxian. Back then, in order to avenge your younger brother, you really racked your brains. Come, let us settle this now." Crack. The three of them clenched their fists. Chapter 572. At the same time, Wu Yan and the others couldn't help but panic. One had to know that although there were only 3 of them, they were all battle masters. On their side, the ones who were seriously injured and crippled were crippled. The only ones who could fight against the battle masters were Dong Xingyang and Qin Feiyang himself. But there was no chance of winning 2 against 3. It was unwise to provoke them at this time. They really couldn't understand why Qin Feiyang, who had always been smart, would make such a decision in such a situation. Dong Xingyang was also extremely puzzled, but he did not show it and only hid it in his heart. Because once he revealed his fear, the other 3 would know that he was afraid and would definitely be attacked by them. But if he was a little stronger, the other party might not dare to make a move. Time passed breath by breath. Although Mo Wuxian and the other 2 were furious, they did not make a move. What is it? The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted as he chuckled, as the 3 great kings of the inner palace of the Cloud State, "Are you afraid of a group of defeated soldiers like us? Afraid of you?" Yan Tianfeng immediately laughed out of anger, and said, "All right, let's settle this today." But at this time, Mo Wuxian pulled him back, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "How about we talk about the conditions?" Qin Feiyang was slightly startled, and asked, "What conditions?" Mo Wuxian said, "I can spare your life, but the others must be killed. As long as you stand by the side and don't interfere, I will let you leave." Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. But Wu Yan and the others immediately panicked. Su Yi hurriedly said, "Senior brother Qin, all of this is our fault, we insisted on coming in, but please be magnanimous, don't leave us behind." That's right, senior brother Qin, even if we are wrong, we are still your junior brothers. What's more, now that we know our mistakes, we shouldn't have fooled around with Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong. Don't worry, we will definitely listen to you in the future. If you tell us to go east, we will definitely not go west. Everyone begged one after another, their eyes filled with helplessness. If Qin Feiyang really did not care, then they would only die today. There was no other way. However, Fatso sneered. It was fine if it happened once or twice, but if the same thing happened again and again, who could stand it? Feiyang, they have indeed made a lot of mistakes along the way. However, the ancients also said that it is the greatest virtue to be able to correct one's mistakes. Just forgive them this time. I promise that this will be the last time I plead for them. If they do it again, you can punish them however you want. Ren Wuxuang looked at Qin Feiyang nervously. Not to mention the others, just Wu Yan and Wu Yan had repeatedly crossed the bottom line of this cheap little brother. According to this little brother's personality, he would have killed them long ago. However, she knew that Qin Feiyang had been holding back because he was concerned about her feelings. Therefore, she couldn't help but feel guilty when she pleaded for everyone again. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang was stunned. He turned to look at Ren Wuxuang and said with a faint smile, "I didn't say I don't care." Immediately, Ren Wuxuang was overjoyed. However, Mo Wuxian and the other two's eyes darkened. Han Wuyen said coldly, "I'm afraid you can't do anything about it." "Is that so?" Qin Feiyang looked at the three and said playfully, "I really want to see, who is stronger between you and Commander Nye." The three's pupils suddenly shrank. Boom! All of a sudden, Qin Feiyang's aura exploded and his eyes became extremely sharp. He snorted and said, "Don't dilly-dally, I'm just an 8-star combat emperor. You can come at me." However, the three didn't move. Because there was a trace of fear in their hearts. "Alright, I'll let you go today, but next time, you won't be so lucky." Finally, Mo Wuxian looked at the crowd gloomily and left without looking back. "Don't be complacent, there's still a long way to go. We'll see. Yes, the best part is yet to come." Han Wuyen and Wu Yan sneered and turned to leave. When the three of them disappeared from their sight, Wu Yan and the others immediately collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath and feeling lingering fear. Qin Feiyang also secretly heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, with his and Dong Jingyang's strength, it was indeed difficult to deal with Mo Wuxian and the other two. But he believed that the three of them would definitely not make a move. At this moment, the blood sun had already risen. The skeletons on the plain had all drilled into the ground. Ren Wuxuang walked to the edge of the death swamp and scanned the empty plain with a melancholic expression. If everyone had listened to Lu Xingqian's advice and entered the swamp after recuperating, would the casualties have been so heavy? "Everyone rest here." Qin Feiyang glanced at Ren Wuxuang and reminded everyone. Then, he walked to Ren Wuxuang's side and whispered, "Sister, what are you thinking about? 550 people, now there are only 50 left. Tell me, is it worth it to make such a sacrifice just to enter the imperial capital?" Ren Wuxuang's eyes were a little confused. "It's not worth it." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Ren Wuxuang said, "But why do so many people want to go, and even don't care about their lives?" Qin Feiyang said, "That's because they don't know much about the imperial capital. They think it's a holy land, but in fact, it's no different from Lingzhou or Yan County. Brother Qin, it seems that you know the imperial capital very well." At this moment, Lu Xingqian walked forward and looked at Qin Feiyang curiously. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "I once read an ancient book that had records about the imperial capital." Lu Xingqian said in surprise, "There's such an ancient book, can you lend it to me?" Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he nodded, "Sure, but I'm also very curious about self-sealing. Can you explain it to me in detail?" Lu Xingchen chuckled and immediately changed the topic. Looking at your expression just now, you seem to be sure that Mo Wuxian and the other two wouldn't dare to make a move. I'm also curious about this. Dong Jingyang also walked up and looked at Qin Feiyang with a face full of surprise. Qin Feiyang said, when I first entered the 9 Nether Yellow Springs, I had a conflict with Morong Xiong. At that time, didn't I say that I killed a 2-star combat grandmaster? Dong Jingyang and the others nodded. Qin Feiyang said, this person was a commander under the Yunzhou prefecture governor, and I killed him in the Yunzhou prison. Heard about it. The three of them looked at each other. This guy was really crazy to kill someone in someone else's prison. Dong Jingyang said, in that case, they are afraid of you because of this, so they don't dare to make a move. Qin Feiyang said, that's just one aspect. Is there another aspect? Dong Jingyang was surprised. That's right. What you see is just the surface. In fact, there is a deep hatred between them. When I first entered the Yunzhou, Mo Wuxian almost died in the hands of Pan Wuyan and Yen Tianfeng. Qin Feiyang said. I understand. Mo Wuxian is worried that the same thing will happen again. Lu Xingchen said in realization. Yes. As long as there is a chance, Pan Wuyan and Yen Tianfeng will get rid of him again. Qin Feiyang nodded. I was quite worried at first, but after hearing what you said, the Yunzhou side is not a concern. In the future, when we meet people from the Yunzhou, we will specifically target Mo Wuxian. Lu Xingchen said with a smile. What do you mean? Dong Jingyang was puzzled. Lu Xingchen said, he is afraid of being schemed against by Yen Tianfeng, so he definitely won't dare to accept the challenge easily, because as long as he is injured, Yen Tianfeng will have a chance. Brother Qin, don't you think so? I don't care about the three of them. I'm thinking now, when will we meet people from the other major regions? What about their strength? Qin Feiyang said. No matter how much you think about it, it's useless to take one step at a time. Lu Xingchen smiled faintly and returned to his resting place. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to recuperate. Dong Jingyang glanced at Lu Xingchen and raised his eyebrows. This person was becoming more and more unfathomable, completely unfathomable. Then he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, regarding the choice of captain, I want to discuss with you. Dongfang Wuhan had escaped, so the captain naturally had to be chosen again. Qin Feiyang laughed, there's nothing to discuss, you will be the captain. What captain? He wasn't interested in it at all. Because this was a thankless task. Dong Jingyang's face suddenly twitched. He didn't want to be the captain either. But now, other than Qin Feiyang, it seemed that he was the only one who had this ability. Suddenly, he looked at Ren Wuxuang. Ren Wuxuang was taken aback and frowned. What are you looking at me for? Dong Jingyang said, you are the granddaughter of the mansion master, and your words carry more weight than Qin Feiyang and I. You will be the captain. Ren Wuxuang wanted to say something. But Dong Jingyang didn't give her the chance to speak. He turned to look at Wu Yan and the others and said loudly, now, Ren Wuxuang will be the captain, do you agree? Agree. Everyone nodded. Good, then it's decided. Dong Jingyang nodded and smiled. He turned to look at Ren Wuxuang and said, Captain, I'm going to recuperate first. Call me if you need anything. Ren Wuxuang wanted to say something again. But Dong Jingyang still didn't give her a chance to speak. He strode to the resting place, sat on the ground, and closed his eyes. Ren Wuxuang looked at Dong Jingyang, then glanced at the crowd, and finally looked at Qin Feiyang for help. Qin Feiyang laughed, since it's what everyone wants, don't refuse. Bastard. Ren Wuxuang glared at him fiercely and said helplessly, okay, but you have to do your best to help me. Qin Feiyang said, that's for sure. Ren Wuxuang felt relieved. He felt that as long as he had Qin Feiyang's help, there seemed to be nothing impossible. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and asked in a low voice, "What happened between you and Lu Xingqian just now? What was the conversation between the two of them? What self-sealing? What ancient book?" It gave people a feeling that they couldn't figure it out. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, "You will know in the future." Still hiding it? Ren Wuxuang rolled her eyes at him and walked over to recuperate. Qin Feiyang swallowed a healing pill and turned his head to glance at Lu Xingqian. But beside Lu Xingqian, he found a familiar figure. Xiang Xiaolong. Suddenly, he was surprised. This person actually didn't die. One had to know. Those who were still alive were all 6-star combat emperors and above. And those who died, their cultivation was also higher than Xiang Xiaolong, but Xiang Xiaolong could survive? Strange. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and turned to look at the vast plain, his eyes flickering. Time flew by. Half an hour passed by quickly. Ren Wuxuang opened her beautiful eyes and stood up to look at everyone, saying, "Have you rested well? If you have, then get ready to set off." Immediately, everyone opened their eyes one after another and stood up. Although their bodies were covered in blood and emitted a pungent smell, they were all hale and hearty and full of fighting spirit. Looking at everyone's mental state, Ren Wuxuang was quite satisfied. Although we haven't encountered any danger, the Death Swamp is definitely not a good place. The most important thing is that there are not only us in the Death Swamp, there are people from the other 8 provinces. Therefore, when we move forward, not only must we line up properly, we must also pay attention to the situation around us. Because any movement in the wind or grass may contain killing intent. Understand? Ren Wuxuang shouted. Understood. Everyone nodded. Good, now I will arrange it. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, you two follow me and open up the path. Dong Jingyang, Lu Xingqian, you two are responsible for covering the rear. Shenlong, Jiang Wei, you two lead the 8-star combat emperors and protect everyone on both sides. The rest of you also need to protect each other. Also, if there is a dispute again, no matter who it is, kill them all. At the end, Ren Wuxuang's voice became incomparably fierce, like an invisible blade, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Let's go. Immediately. As Ren Wuxuang waved her jade-like hand, everyone quickly lined up and carefully walked towards the jungle in front of them. Fatso laughed in a low voice, "Boss, this Ren Wuxuang is quite dignified when she is serious. As the granddaughter of the prefecture master, it would be abnormal if she was not dignified. Don't talk nonsense, carefully observe the front." Qin Feiyang's face was very serious, his eyes were like lightning, sweeping back and forth in front. In particular, he paid special attention to the shrubs and weeds where people could hide. After the group had walked for a distance, Ren Wuxuang came to the front row, walking side by side with Qin Feiyang, and asked, "Did you find anything wrong?" "Not yet." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Ren Wuxuang said, "Even if not, we can't let our guard down." Along the way, everyone did not speak, their ears were listening to their surroundings, and their eyes were looking around. Even the most restless Su Yang and Wu Yen were unprecedentedly obedient. Everywhere they passed, except for the sound of everyone's footsteps, there was dead silence. At noon, someone suggested to find a place to rest first. After Ren Wuxuang considered it, he also agreed with this suggestion. Because, although they did not encounter any danger along the way, everyone's nerves had been tense, and after a long time, it was inevitable that they would feel tired. After a while, they found the best place to rest. This place was still a wild forest, but within a radius of 500 or 600 meters, there was not a single tree, only weeds, shrubs, and a small pool. The terrain was also very flat. And naturally, the field of vision was very wide. If someone appeared or something abnormal happened, they would be able to detect it at once. However, Qin Feiyang and Fatso did not rest. The two stood on a black stone, scanning in all directions, not letting go of any suspicious places. After arranging everyone, Ren Wuxuang walked over, jumped on the stone, stood beside Qin Feiyang, and asked, "How is it?" "I didn't find anything, it should be fine." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "That's good." Ren Wuxuang breathed a sigh of relief and asked with concern, "Are you tired?" "If you are, you should take a rest." Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "This kind of environment is nothing to me, you go to rest." Since leaving the capital, he had been living a life of desperation. What place had he not been to? Therefore, whether it was the ability to accept unfamiliar environments or the ability to withstand unknown dangers, they were far superior to other people of the same age. "I'm not tired either." Ren Wuxuang shook his head. Once in the ruins, she was able to persevere, and naturally here was no exception. Suddenly, Shen Mei opened her eyes and looked at the pool not far away, as if struggling with something. Finally, she got up, walked to Qin Feiyang and the other two, and said shyly, "That. Qin Feiyang, can you help me to take a look at that pool?" "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. Cough cough. Fatso clenched his fist, put it to his mouth and coughed, and laughed, "Boss, you don't even know this, your EQ is worrying." Chapter 573. Since entering the 9 nether yellow springs, everyone had been fighting and fleeing. The blood, dirt, and dust on their bodies had never been washed. Therefore, when she saw the pool, Shen Mei wanted to wash it. Of course, this was understandable. After all, as a woman, a beautiful woman, it was her nature to love beauty in cleanliness. Shen Mei said again, "If it really doesn't work, it doesn't matter, I can hold on. It's okay, I also think that everyone should wash up." Qin Feiyang smiled, jumped down from the stone, and carefully walked towards the pool. Before this, he really didn't care about this, but after Shen Mei said it, and looking at everyone's unkempt appearance, it was indeed time to wash up. However, under the water, any danger could exist, so he had to explore it clearly first. The pool was not far away. Qin Feiyang quickly walked to the pool. The pool was very clear, 56 meters wide, surrounded by aquatic plants, but he couldn't see the bottom of the pool. Qin Feiyang observed for a while, the water was always calm, giving people a sense of tranquility. But he didn't rashly go down. He found a washbasin-sized stone and threw it into the pool. Immediately, water splashed everywhere. The stone quickly sank to the bottom of the pool. But after a long time, it still didn't sink to the bottom. It was enough to see that this pool was very deep. "Do you want to go down and take a look?" Qin Feiyang was a little hesitant. Finally, he gritted his teeth, jumped directly into the pool, and quickly sank to the bottom of the pool. The water was unexpectedly calm, and there wasn't even half a creature. But the more it was like this, the more cautious Qin Feiyang was, and even took out Chang Shui in case of an accident. After about 200 breaths, he finally saw the bottom of the pool. The moment he saw the bottom of the pool, he immediately stopped, his eyes full of horror. At the bottom of the pool, there were actually a lot of bones piled up. The stone that was thrown into the pool before was now on top of the bones. Qin Feiyang glanced at them one by one, and couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle. These bones, there were human skulls and beast skulls. It was like coming to hell, making people stop at sight. This was enough to prove that the pool was not safe. But where exactly was the danger? Because at the bottom of the lake, Qin Feiyang only saw bones and no other creatures. Qin Feiyang really wanted to go down and look for it, but there was a voice in his heart that told him not to take the risk. After pondering for a moment, he decisively swam towards the surface of the water. But suddenly, He stopped again and looked to the left of the bottom of the lake. A trace of bewilderment crept into his eyes. Over there, a strand of multicolored light seemed to appear, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. Was it an illusion? Qin Feiyang frowned. However, in the next moment, the multicolored light appeared again and then disappeared. It's not an illusion. Qin Feiyang felt refreshed and immediately swam to the left. However, he did not enter the bottom of the pool and kept a distance from it. This kind of flashing multicolored light was most likely emitted by some kind of treasure. As they got closer, the multicolored light became more and more obvious. Vaguely, Qin Feiyang saw a vague glowing object at the bottom of the pool. There's really a treasure. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed, but he did not lose his mind because of this. He slowly approached, holding the changshui tightly in his hand. After a few breaths, he finally saw the glowing object clearly. It was actually a flower. This flower, rooted in a piece of mud, was about the size of a palm, and was shaped like a snow lotus. However, it only had 3 leaves, and each leaf seemed to be carved out of crystal without any flaws. Moreover, its whole body flickered with a hazy multicolored light. Although it was rooted in mud, it was not stained with the slightest bit of dirt. It was exceptionally beautiful. Qin Feiyang was entranced by it. What kind of flower was this? How could it grow in such a place? It also looked somewhat familiar. However, he was certain that this flower was definitely not an ordinary object. After carefully observing the situation around and seeing that there were no other creatures, Qin Feiyang slowly approached the flower. However, just as he was about to grab it, he seemed to have discovered something terrifying. He quickly retracted his arm and rushed towards the surface of the water without hesitation. Just as he retracted his arm, the mud near the flower violently surged. Whoosh! Following closely, a group of mysterious creatures rushed out of the mud and rushed towards Qin Feiyang like lightning. These mysterious creatures were as long as chopsticks, as thick as a thumb, and as black as ink. They looked like snakes, but they were not snakes. Because they did not have snake scales or eyes. However, they could clearly sense Qin Feiyang's existence and chased after him relentlessly. Damn it! Why are there these damn things? Qin Feiyang looked down at those mysterious creatures, and his face was ashen. These creatures were very fast, but compared to Qin Feiyang, they were still a little slower. A moment later, Qin Feiyang rushed out of the water and quickly climbed ashore. After reaching the shore, he did not continue to escape. He stood on the shore and scanned the lake, red sword chi surging all over his body. What's going on? Fatso and the other 2 were surprised and rushed towards Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said without turning his head, "Don't come over. Be prepared to escape at any time." Escape? The 3 of them looked at each other. Was there some ferocious beast at the bottom of the lake? Thinking of this, Ren Wuxuan quivered and shouted, "There's a situation. Everyone, be on guard." In an instant, everyone opened their eyes and got into a state of alert. Whoosh! Almost at the same time, the group of mysterious creatures rushed out of the pool and rushed towards Qin Feiyang. What? Black demon locusts. Seeing this, not far away, Fatty and the others all had a change of expression. Black demon locusts and blood leech locusts were the same. They could drill into the bodies of creatures and suck their blood until the end of their lives. But black demon locusts were more terrifying than blood leech locusts. Because their bodies were very tough, it was very difficult for ordinary sharp weapons to break through their defense. And the most important point was that they could not only suck blood, but also absorb battle chi. Fatso shouted, "Boss, don't tangle with them. Run. We can't leave yet." Qin Feiyang whispered. The red sword chi turned into a torrent and rushed towards the black demon locusts. At that moment, Those black demon locusts began to absorb his battle chi. But some of the black demon locusts were cut into pieces and fell into the pool. However, these black demon locusts were also known to be immortal. Even if they were chopped into pieces, they would come back to life again. And they would form a brand new independent entity. For example, if there was only one black demon locust at the moment, if you cut it in half, it would become two. Unless it was burned to ashes, there would only be more and more of them. This was the most terrifying part of the black demon locusts. Qin Feiyang, you can't kill all these damn things. Quickly retreat with us. Dong Jingyang also shouted anxiously. That's not necessarily true. Qin Feiyang muttered. The crimson sword qi retracted, and the flaming battle qi surged out with an earth-shattering momentum. But groups of black demon locusts came one after another. After one wave was burned, another wave came. And even if it was the flaming battle qi, they dared to absorb it. The most shocking thing was that as they kept absorbing the battle qi, their bodies became bigger and bigger, more and more ferocious. Several black demon locusts had swelled to the size of an arm, which made one's hair stand on end. They can absorb battle qi, but they can't absorb real flames. Why don't we just set them on fire? Someone suggested. Setting them on fire can only deal with ordinary locusts. But these black demon locusts, even ordinary weapons can't cut their flesh, let alone ordinary flames. Dong Jingyang immediately rejected this suggestion. Shen Mei frowned. So, don't the black demon locusts have invincible bodies? You can say that. Dong Jingyang nodded. Set them on fire. Qin Feiyang was stunned. This reminded him. Ordinary flames couldn't, flaming battle qi couldn't, then what about alchemy fire? Alchemy fire didn't belong to any battle qi. Could it effectively prevent these black demon locusts from coming back to life? Thinking of this. With a thought, the nether devil flame appeared. The temperature released by a 5th-grade alchemy fire was very shocking. As soon as the nether devil flame was revived, the temperature between heaven and earth soared rapidly, like a big furnace in an instant. The surrounding bushes and weeds dried up at a speed visible to the naked eye, and then burned. A few breaths passed. This place became a sea of fire. What grade is this alchemy fire? Even I can't stand the temperature released. Wu Yan and the others in the resting area were shocked. At the same time, Lu Xingqian looked at the nether devil flame with a strange light in his eyes. If I'm not wrong, this alchemy fire should be 5th grade. What? 5th grade? Everyone was dumbfounded. In the entire spiritual state, only the inner palace had the highest grade of alchemy fire, but it was only 4th grade. Where did this Qin Feiyang get a 5th grade alchemy fire? Could it be Yunzhou? The appearance of the nether devil flame did play a significant role. Those black demon locusts weren't as crazy as before. Some of them surrounded Qin Feiyang, and some didn't dare to approach. Some retreated to the pool and floated on the water surface, watching covetously. Only a small portion of the black demon locusts were still rushing toward Qin Feiyang. The few black demon locusts that had swelled to the size of an arm were among them, and vaguely emitted the aura of a king. Qin Feiyang's gaze was locked on them, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Because he couldn't let them continue to grow, or they would inevitably become a threat to him. Clang! Just as those black demon locusts were approaching, he raised his arm and waved the Chang Shui in his hand like lightning, cutting those black demon locusts into pieces on the spot. Then, with a thought, the nether devil flame rushed over. The horrifying heat shrouded over, and those pieces were quickly burned to ashes. This scene seemed to have frightened the other black demon locusts, and they all retreated to the pool. Humph! Qin Feiyang snorted and waved his hand. The nether devil flame turned into a stream of light and directly entered the pool. Immediately, the pool began to boil, bubbling, and wisps of white mist rose. What is he trying to do? Everyone was puzzled. Lu Xingqian said, he probably wants to evaporate the water in the pool. Why is he doing this? Just to deal with the black demon locusts? Isn't it boring? Everyone couldn't help but frown. Humph. Fatso snorted secretly, his eyes full of disdain. Boring? What a joke. Boss never did meaningless things. There must be something in the pool that moved Boss's heart. Whoosh. Chapter 574. Arriving beside Qin Feiyang, Fatso whispered, "Boss, what did you find?" Qin Feiyang said, "A strange flower." Strange flower. Fatso's eyes immediately lit up. The water temperature was getting higher and higher, and the steam was getting more and more. The water level was rapidly decreasing. Suddenly, Fatso seemed to have thought of something, and said, "Boss, since that strange flower grows at the bottom of the pool, will you destroy it by doing this?" His words woke the dreamer up. Qin Feiyang anxiously recalled the nether devil flame. Looking at the pool, he really couldn't think of a better idea. Finally, he gritted his teeth, looked at Fatso and said, "I'll go down again, you stay here and watch carefully. I'm worried that the commotion just now has already attracted the attention of others." The others? Fatso was secretly shocked, and said in a low voice, "You mean the people from the other 8 continents?" Qin Feiyang scanned his surroundings, and said in a deep voice, "Although we haven't seen them yet, we still have to be on guard." "All right." Fatso nodded. Dong! Qin Feiyang held on to the Chang Shui, the nether devil flame above his head, and jumped into the pool once again. The water temperature was very high. However, with his current cultivation, it was still within his tolerance range. However, not long after he jumped into the pool, 5 figures shot out from the forest in front of him like lightning. When Fatso saw them, his face suddenly changed, and he roared, "Boss, come out quickly, Mo Wuxian and the others are here." Dong Jingyang and the rest immediately gathered together and looked at the 5 of them gloomily. That's right. The people who came were Mo Wuxian, Pan Wuyan, Yan Tianfeng, Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sancher. Mo Wuxian swept his gaze across the crowd, his eyes filled with a cold light. He waved his hand and shouted, "Attack!" Boom! The aura of the 5 of them exploded. Mo Wuxian rushed towards Fatso, while Yan Tianfeng and the other 3 rushed towards Dong Jingyang and the others. Fatso's face was pale white. Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sancher had actually already broken through to the War Master. In other words, there were currently 5 King S of the War Master level in the Cloud State. How were they supposed to fight? With just Dong Jingyang alone, it was impossible to block the attacks of these 5 people. Dong! Without any hesitation, he leaped and jumped into the pool. "You're pretty smart." Mo Wuxian sneered, and immediately flew towards Ren Wushuang and the others. Dong Jingyang hurriedly shouted, "You guys go quickly, I'll stop them." Yan Tianfeng sneered, "No one is allowed to leave. Otherwise, all of you will die." Pan Wuyan said, "If you surrender obediently and don't resist, we may let you live." Ren Wushuang frowned. "What exactly do you want?" "What do you want?" "You'll know soon enough." Mo Wuxian smiled coldly. The 5 of them didn't kill them. They just surrounded Ren Wushuang and the others in the middle. Then, they looked at the pool as if they were waiting for something. Dong! Soon. Qin Feiyang and Fatso both jumped out of the water and landed on the shore. Seeing Mo Wuxian and the others, Qin Feiyang's face darkened. "Finally out. Hand over that strange flower." Mo Wuxian said. "You guys know about it too?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "We knew about it long ago, but we couldn't do anything to those black demon locusts. Originally, we were all prepared to give up. Who knew that you guys would come here and find a way to restrain those black demon locusts?" So, we hid in the forest nearby, waiting for the best time to strike. Qin Feiyang, I have to say, you're really a talent. You actually have a 5th-grade alchemy fire. Pan Wuyan said with a smile. Qin Feiyang said, you guys are one step too early. I haven't gotten the strange flower yet. If you guys have the ability, go down yourself. Didn't get it? The 5 of them immediately raised their eyebrows. Qin Feiyang said, I'm very confused. Do you know what that strange flower is? Why do you want it so badly? I don't know, but looking at it, I know it's not an ordinary thing. Since you didn't get it, then give me your 5th-grade alchemy fire. If you dare to refuse, all of them will die in front of you. Mo Wuxian pointed at Ren Wushuang and the others and said coldly. Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd, and the corners of his mouth lifted slightly. He looked at Mo Wuxian and said with a faint smile, to be honest, I'm also very annoyed with them. If you really kill them, it will save me a lot of trouble. Senior brother Qin, you can't do this. Please give them the alchemy fire and save us. Wu Yan and the others panicked and begged. Is your life worth this 5th-grade alchemy fire? Qin Feiyang sneered. Bastard, I've been so loyal to you. I didn't expect you to be such a heartless person. I was blind. Dong Jingyang immediately roared. Heart and lungs. Don't be funny. Who doesn't know that you want to kill me to avenge the Dong family? Qin Feiyang smiled disdainfully. Mo Wuxian glanced at Dong Jingyang and looked at Qin Feiyang mockingly. It seems that you have a deep grudge in the spiritual state. Qin Feiyang shrugged and said helplessly, I can't help it. I'm just too likable. Pan Wuyan and the others' faces twitched. Not ashamed, but proud. How could there be such a thick-skinned person in the world? However, Mo Wuxian's gaze swept back and forth between Dong Jingyang and Qin Feiyang. Suddenly, his eyes flashed and he gave the 2 a thumbs up, amazing. I didn't expect you to be so talented in acting. I almost believed it. Qin Feiyang and Dong Jingyang's hearts sank. That's right. They were indeed acting before to make Mo Wuxian and the others careless and then cooperate to save everyone. However, they didn't expect Mo Wuxian to see through it so quickly. Acting? Pan Wuyan and the others were stunned and their eyes turned cold. Yan Tianfeng waved his hand and his battle chi emerged, turning into a giant yellow hand and grabbing towards Ren Wushuang and the others. If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. Dong Jingyang shouted coldly and stepped in front of everyone. The black demonic seal instantly condensed and blasted towards the giant hand. At the same time, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Fatso and the netherworld demonic flame into the castle. He then used phantom steps and rushed towards Ren Wushuang and the others. Humph! Mo Wuxian and Pan Wuyan snorted and stood in front of Qin Feiyang. Boom! Accompanied by a loud noise, the black demonic seal and the giant hand collided. The giant hand was just an ordinary attack and naturally couldn't block the black demonic seal. It instantly shattered and then the black demonic seal carried the power to destroy the world and blasted towards Yan Tianfeng. Heaven Dipper Art, Battle Shield. Yan Tianfeng bellowed, his fan-like hand stretched out in the air, his battle chi surged, condensing into a thick and heavy shield in front of him, blocking the black demonic seal. After a short exchange, the 2 of them retreated a few steps at the same time, a trace of blood flowing out from the corner of their mouths. Yan Tianfeng was furious, and shouted, Lu Yunfeng, Pei Sancher, follow me and destroy them. The 2 of them released their battle chi and their auras soared into the clouds. But at this time, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he said loudly, Lu Yunfeng, Pei Sancher, have you forgotten how they humiliated you in the past? Don't you want to wash away this humiliation? Immediately, Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sanchi's bodies stiffened. A raging anger burned in their hearts. Back then in the Spirit Cloud Mountain Range, the slap that Yen Tianfeng gave them was like a stain that was branded in their hearts, something that they would never be able to forget. A good chance. Seeing this, a cold light flashed in Dong Zhengyang's eyes. He took a mysterious step and rushed towards Yen Tianfeng. At the same time, Qin Feiyang and Mo Wuxian's battle also began. 7 killing arts, open. Mo Wuxian's body trembled, blood qi coiled around his entire body, and his killing intent boiled. Whiz. Following closely. 100 zhang long blood-red blade appeared out of nowhere, charging towards Qin Feiyang, its sharpness tearing through the earth. Ice Heaven Manifestation. Above Pan Wuyen's head, a frost vortex also appeared, and a huge ice elephant roared out, its ferocious might unparalleled, and swooped down towards Qin Feiyang. The two of them used their battle arts the moment they made their move. From this, it could be seen how much they feared Qin Feiyang. But Qin Feiyang had no intention of fighting them head-on. When the two great battle arts rushed over, he directly entered the ancient castle. When the two great battle arts whistled past, he walked out of the ancient castle. Using the phantom steps, he left behind an incomparably real afterimage around Mo Wuxian and Pei Sancher. Mo Wuxian and Pei Sancher looked at those illusions, a little confused. Who exactly was Qin Feiyang's original body? Destroy all of them. Pan Wuyen suddenly let out a fierce roar. Chirp. Accompanied by a sharp chirp, an ice phoenix soared out of the vortex above her head. Wherever it passed, the illusions continued to dissipate. Looks like you didn't remember Commander Nie's lesson. But suddenly, a cold voice sounded behind Pan Wuyen. She suddenly tensed up, and hurriedly turned around. A cold face immediately entered her line of sight. It was Qin Feiyang. And it was close at hand. Out of fear of Qin Feiyang, she did not hesitate and immediately retreated. However, at the same time, she felt a pain in her chest, and instinctively looked down, only to see a pure white jade dagger sinking into her heart. Ah, the intense pain swept over like a tide, and she could not help but scream. But at the same time, a crazed look appeared in her eyes. She suddenly stretched out her hands, hugging Qin Feiyang tightly, and shouted, Mo Wuxian, quickly. Seeing this, Mo Wuxian's murderous aura soared, and several blood blades condensed in an instant, slashing towards Qin Feiyang's neck. Are you crazy? Qin Feiyang was furious. He really did not expect Pan Wuyen to be so crazy. Women were indeed creatures that should not be provoked. Pan Wuyen laughed sinisterly, even if I die, I will drag you down with me. Then you'd better die by yourself. Qin Feiyang's heart moved, and directly brought Pan Wuyen to the ancient castle. Boom! The moment he disappeared, several blood blades arrived, smashing into the ground. This place immediately exploded, leaving behind a huge crater. Damn it! Mo Wuxian was furious. Originally, this was the best opportunity to kill Qin Feiyang, but he did not expect him to escape. All of you must die. He seemed to have transformed into a violent beast, and turned to stare at Ren Wuxuang and the rest. Boom! He took a step forward, and madly rushed over. Inside the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang's body shook, and he forcefully pushed Pan Wuyen away, and punched her lower abdomen. Ah! With a shrill scream, Pan Wuyen was sent flying on the spot, crashing into the wall behind her. Kill her. Qin Feiyang said to Fatso, and his killing intent was bone-piercing. Pan Wuyen's heart was pierced by Chang Shui, and she was already at the end of her rope. So even if she stayed in the ancient castle, she would not be a threat to Fatso and the rest. Next, he took Chang Shui and left the ancient castle. When he saw Mo Wuxian rushing towards Ren Wuxuang and the rest, he used the phantom steps, and quickly chased after him, at the same time roaring, Mo Wuxian, if you dare to touch them, when I leave the 9 nether yellow springs, I will definitely go to Yunzhou and slaughter everyone in your Mo family. You have to have the ability to do so. Chapter 575. Qin Feiyang was furious and pushed his speed to the limit. However, even though he had the perfect phantom steps, Mo Wuxian was a war master and his speed was much faster than him. He really couldn't catch up. However, could it be that they were just going to watch Mo Wuxian kill Ren Wuxian and the others? He didn't care about the others. But Ren Wuxian, he had no choice but to care. Senior brother Qin, save us. I don't want to die yet. At the same time, seeing the crazed Mo Wuxian, Wu Yan and the others turned pale with fright. They began to call for Qin Feiyang's help non-stop. Looking at Dong Zhengyang, he was tightly entangled by Yan Tianfeng and was unable to escape. Qin Feiyang, I want you to watch them die one by one in front of you. This is the price of provoking me. Go to hell. Mo Wuxian went completely crazy, the murderous aura around his body turned into bloody sharp blades, exuding an astonishing destructive power, and rushed towards Ren Wuxian and the others. Shenlong, Jiang Wei, please, you must block it. Please rest assured, even if your sea of qi is shattered, I can still save you. At this moment, only Shenlong and Jiang Wei could save everyone from the fire and water. Although it was very likely that they would die because of this, there was no other way now. Mo Wuxian mocked, you can still save a shattered sea of qi, a shattered sea of consciousness, do you think you are a god? Whether he can save us or not, we will still take action. Without hesitation. Shenlong and Jiang Wei looked at each other, their eyes filled with determination. Next, the two of them took a step forward at the same time and stood in front of everyone. Then, their bodies shook and their battle qi surged out like a torrent. Hurricane slash. Tiger subduing celestial phenomenon. With a low shout from the two, their battle qi soared into the sky, condensing into a huge hurricane and a huge golden tiger above their heads, releasing a destructive aura. Woo woo. Ao. The two of them waved their hands and the hurricane howled, the tiger's roar shook the sky, and two battle arts blasted towards the blood blades at the same time. Boom! Immediately, a deafening explosion echoed in the area. Retreat! Ren Wuxian shouted. Everyone quickly retreated, but their eyes were firmly locked onto Shenlong and Yi Shiwen. They kept praying in their hearts that they absolutely could not fall. Why am I so weak? If my cultivation is strong enough, I can protect everyone. To think that I'm the granddaughter of the manor head. What a joke. Ren Wuxian looked at the fearless Shenlong duo and blamed himself in his heart. Ah! But in the end, Shenlong and the other man were still unable to persevere. Accompanied by a blood-curdling scream, his body was sent flying. Blood spurted from his mouth, and the two battle arts were destroyed by the blood blade. While flying, the two of them glanced at Qin Feiyang behind Mo Wuxian. Jiang Wei said, Qin Feiyang won't be able to arrive in time. We still have to do something. Then let's do it. Shenlong said. The two of them knew that they would definitely die this time, but both their tone and expression were extremely calm. In fact, they were also afraid of death. But for the dignity of the spiritual state, they chose to defend it to the end. Compared to Dongfang Wuhan and Murong Xiong, they were indeed much better and worthy of admiration. Clang! Two loud noises exploded, as if divine weapons were unsheathed, resounding through the sky. Behind the two of them, two bright lights rushed out at the same time. And in the light, there were two battle souls. Shenlong's battle soul was a giant sword that was more than 100 feet long. It was as if it was cast in gold, emitting a dazzling light. Jiang Wei's battle soul was a long halberd that was about the same size as the golden giant sword. It was surrounded by an invisible storm that was whining. In the blink of an eye. As soon as the two battle souls appeared, they carried the power to destroy the world and blasted towards the blood blades. Boom! Immediately, the two battle souls collapsed. The two of them spat out blood again and crashed into the forest beside them. Ancient trees fell one after another, and leaves flew all over the sky. Finally, the two of them crashed into a short mountain that was more than 100 feet high. The short mountain collapsed on the spot, and the two of them were instantly buried in the mud. At the same time, those blood blades also collapsed. Mo Wuxian took a few steps back, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Damn it! His face was ferocious. He didn't expect that there would be such a fearless person in the spiritual state. It was also at this time. Qin Feiyang took the opportunity to approach Mo Wuxian, but did not attack him. He swept past him and went straight to Ren Wuxuang and the others. He was not afraid of confronting Mo Wuxian head-on. But now, there were two uncertain factors. The first factor was Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sancher. No matter what grudges they had with Mo Wuxian, the two of them were still from the cloud state. In the end, it was likely that they would still choose to attack. The second factor was that the battle here was too intense. If there were other people nearby, they would definitely be on their way. So, he had to send Ren Wuxuang and the others away first. In this way, he could give it his all. Senior brother Qin, what should we do? Quickly think of a way. As soon as Qin Feiyang stopped in front of Ren Wuxuang, everyone rushed forward. But at this time, Mo Wuxian roared, Lu Yunfeng, Pei Sancher, what are you still standing there for? Don't forget the warning master gave you before you left. Qin Feiyang turned his head and saw Mo Wuxian rushing over with a murderous aura. He saw Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sancher again. The two of them were silent for a moment, and finally made their move. Qin Feiyang's heart sank, and he turned to Ren Wuxuang and said, take everyone away immediately and find a hidden place to hide. What about you? Ren Wuxuang said anxiously. When the matter here is over, I will come to find you. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Okay. Ren Wuxuang nodded and whispered in Qin Feiyang's ear, I will leave a mark on the road, be careful. After saying that, she led everyone to retreat into the forest behind. Mo Wuxian shouted, stop them. Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sancher immediately chased after Ren Wuxuang and the others. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang turned around, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He took a step forward and stood in front of the two. You are very strong. If you escape alone, no one can stop you. Why do you care about their life and death? Pei Sancher was puzzled. Qin Feiyang said, they are my companions. Of course I have to protect them. Companions? If they are true companions, then there is nothing wrong with that. But according to my observation, they only treat you as a companion because you can protect them. If you don't have this ability, I believe they would have abandoned you long ago. Is it worth it? Pei Sancher asked. Qin Feiyang turned his head and looked at the ruins in the forest behind them. That was where Shenlong and Jiang Wei were buried. Qin Feiyang's expression was somewhat complicated. He looked back at Pei Sancher and shook his head, I don't know if it is worth it or not, but Shenlong and Jiang Wei's actions moved me. Mo Wuxian shouted, what are you still talking about? Let's kill him together. At this time, he was only a dozen meters away from Qin Feiyang. After he finished speaking, a blood-red light rushed out from his back. It was a blood-red sword the size of a thumb. Although it looked inconspicuous, it emitted a shocking sharpness. This was his battle spirit. He did not dare to be careless when dealing with Qin Feiyang. Therefore, he used his trump card. Pei Sancher glanced at Mo Wuxian and then looked at Qin Feiyang, I admire your character and courage, but we are enemies. Therefore, this battle is inevitable. Lu Yunfeng also said, after knowing your true identity, I also want to fight with you. Today, let us have a good fight. Qin Feiyang secretly sneered. He was not stupid enough to fight with the three great sections. Whoosh! He used the phantom steps and rushed toward Dong Xingyang. Want to leave? No way! Mo Wuxian shouted. The small blood-red sword trembled in the void. Then, it shot toward Qin Feiyang like a sharp arrow. Lu Yunfeng and the other two also activated their battle arts. Following closely behind the blood-colored sword, they aggressively charged towards Qin Feiyang. Fight! At this moment, Qin Feiyang did not hesitate to use the battle art. His black hair and eyes instantly turned blood-red, as if they were dyed with blood. Immediately after, he slapped with his palm. In his palm, the return art appeared. A golden wave appeared, containing a hidden power, and rushed toward the blood-red sword and the two battle arts. Boom! The two collided. The blood-red sword and the two battle arts suddenly changed sides and attacked Mo Wuxian and the other two. This kind of battle art again. The three of them were shocked and hurriedly retreated to the side, narrowly avoiding this fatal blow. But at the same time, Qin Feiyang's arm also shattered, flesh and blood flying everywhere. However, he did not even frown. Instead, he borrowed the force of the impact to speed up and rush toward Dong Xingyang. Just in time. Yan Tianfeng, who was locked in battle with Dong Xingyang, saw Qin Feiyang approaching and immediately abandoned Dong Xingyang and rushed toward Qin Feiyang. Your opponent is me. Dong Xingyang shouted and immediately chased after him. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang shouted to Dong Xingyang, I'll hold them back, quickly go and see if Shenlong and Jiang Wei are dead. Dong Xingyang was bewildered. Hold them back. Was he crazy? One had to know that there were 4 battle masters in front of him. Even if Qin Feiyang's battle strength was heaven-defying, it was impossible for him to be a match for them. Putting this aside, with the current situation, was there a need to care about the life and death of Shenlong and Jiang Wei? Go quickly. Qin Feiyang said angrily. Dong Xingyang's heart trembled. At this moment, he seemed to feel the majesty of an emperor from Qin Feiyang. The words that came out of his mouth made him not dare to disobey. Whoosh! He swallowed his saliva, turned around and rushed into the forest, rushing toward the ruins. Want to save them? No way. Yan Tianfeng, who was rushing toward Qin Feiyang, immediately turned around and chased after Dong Xingyang. Don't chase, kill Qin Feiyang first. Mo Wuxian shouted coldly. Okay. Yan Tianfeng immediately turned around and charged toward Qin Feiyang. Indeed, Qin Feiyang was the biggest threat. As long as he got rid of Qin Feiyang, the rest of the people in the spiritual state were nothing to worry about. Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sancher also followed Mo Wuxian. Facing the 4 battle masters, Qin Feiyang not only did not panic, but was also unprecedentedly calm. Inside the ancient castle. Little Qin Zi, what's going on? Wolf King had already been awakened. It had been waiting for Qin Feiyang to enter the ancient castle and take it out to fight. It was also mentally prepared for a bloody battle, but Qin Feiyang did not come in. Chapter 576. Brother Wolf, don't worry. If he doesn't come in, it means that he is still confident. Lu Hong advised from the side. Yes, I believe in Brother Feiyang. Lin Yi followed. Having said that, the deep worry on their faces was enough to show that their hearts were not calm at this moment. Boom! A loud noise came into the castle. Everyone knew that the battle outside had begun. Outside, Qin Feiyang and Mo Wuxian's group of 4 launched a fierce battle. He was at an absolute disadvantage fighting against 4 people alone. In less than 3 breaths, his body was full of scars. But relying on the battle character tactic, no matter how serious the blow he received, he was still lively. The battle character tactic couldn't give Qin Feiyang a true immortal body. There was also a limit to his endurance. As long as he reached the limit, he would still die. However, the strength of Mo Wuxian's group had obviously not reached this limit. As the battle heated up, Mo Wuxian's group of 4 became more and more surprised. This guy's ability to withstand a beating is too terrifying, right? If it were someone else, not to mention an 8-star war emperor, even a 1-star war ancestor with the same realm as them would have died in their hands long ago. But this person didn't show any signs of weakness. Is this a dream? I don't believe it. Yan Tianfeng suddenly roared. His fist was covered with battle qi, and he punched Qin Feiyang's back with all his strength. Boom! Immediately, Qin Feiyang was like a meteorite, smashing into a boulder in front of him. The boulder shattered on the spot. Qin Feiyang fell to the ground, spurting blood from his mouth. His back was lacerated, his bones were broken, and even his internal organs were damaged. However, the next moment, he turned over and jumped up, standing firmly on the ground. His whole body was in high spirits, and his fighting spirit was unparalleled. How is this possible? What kind of monster are you? Yan Tianfeng was dumbfounded. Monster? The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted, revealing a bright smile. You can still smile. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Yan Tianfeng was furious and attacked Qin Feiyang again. Swoosh! Qin Feiyang didn't retreat but advanced instead. The two of them collided like lightning. Yan Tianfeng's fist landed on Qin Feiyang's chest. His khaki-colored battle qi exuded a heavy aura. Puff! Qin Feiyang spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. But at the same time, Qin Feiyang also grabbed Chang Shui and cut off Yan Tianfeng's arm, causing blood to gush out. He can still fight back. Mo Wuxian and the other 2 turned pale with fright. Did this person consume some kind of miraculous pill? Qin Feiyang, they are still alive. At this moment, Dong Xingyang's voice came from the forest. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. He turned around without hesitation and rushed into the jungle. Trying to escape. Mo Wuxian smiled disdainfully and chased after them with Yan Tianfeng and the other 2. Boom! Behind the 4 of them, a fighting soul soared. Whoosh! Mo Wuxian's battle soul blood-red sword was the first to attack Qin Feiyang. Giving him a taste of his own medicine. Qin Feiyang roared and slapped with his right palm. Golden light surged and pounced on the blood-red sword. Boom! The sword was instantly sent flying. Qin Feiyang's arm finally reached its limit and shattered. The blood in his mouth was spurting out like crazy. But at this moment, Yan Tianfeng and the other 2's fighting souls also attacked. Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth and kept Chang Shui. His left hand shot out and the return formula appeared again. In the end, the 3 fighting souls were sent flying. But his left hand was also instantly shattered. Mo Wuxian sneered. Let's see what else you can do after losing your hands. Yan Tianfeng, petrify him. The 4 of them were faster than Qin Feiyang. Very soon, they caught up with Qin Feiyang. Yan Tianfeng stretched out his arm and grabbed Qin Feiyang's left shoulder. Wisps of battle qi gushed out from his palm. Upon hearing the word petrify, Qin Feiyang's expression changed on the spot. If he was really petrified by Yan Tianfeng, then even if he had the battle formula, he would not be able to escape death today. So, when Yan Tianfeng grabbed him, he decisively entered the castle. Little Qin Zi, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you come in earlier? With my help, you wouldn't have fallen to this point. Wolf King immediately said angrily. Just focus on your seclusion. Qin Feiyang glanced at it and looked at Fatso. Give me a regeneration pill. Fatso quickly took out the regeneration pill and fed it to Qin Feiyang. Don't worry about me, I won't die yet. After hurriedly leaving these words, Qin Feiyang left the castle and saw Mo Wuxian and the other three rushing towards Dong Xingyang. Didn't you want to kill me? Why are you running now? Qin Feiyang sneered, full of provocation. But Mo Wuxian and the other three didn't even look at him. After fighting for so long, they deeply realized a problem. It was impossible to kill Qin Feiyang. Because Qin Feiyang had a treasure that could hide. As long as they hid in it, even if they had heaven-defying instincts, they could only stare helplessly. So, instead of continuing to tangle with Qin Feiyang, it was better to take down Dong Xingyang and the other two to threaten Qin Feiyang. Even if Qin Feiyang was not threatened, he could still directly kill the three of them and cause the spiritual state to lose three powerful combat forces. Qin Feiyang's face darkened when he saw that the four of them had failed in their provocation. He shouted, Dong Xingyang, take them and flee quickly. You have the same cultivation as them. They won't be able to catch up to you. Dong Xingyang was running over with the unconscious Shenlong and the other two, trying to help Qin Feiyang escape. Hearing this, he immediately stopped and frowned. What about you? Qin Feiyang said disdainfully, don't worry, they can't do anything to me. Okay. Dong Xingyang looked deeply at Qin Feiyang, and without hesitation, he turned around and rushed into the depths of the forest. Yan Tianfeng roared, today, even if I have to go to heaven or hell, I will chase him to the end. But at this time, Lu Yunfeng stopped and shook his head. He also has a high-grade auxiliary battle art, we can't catch up. Slap. Before he finished speaking, a scene that left Qin Feiyang dumbfounded appeared. Yan Tianfeng slapped Lu Yunfeng and Dong Xingyang's faces and roared, isn't this all your fault? If you had attacked from the beginning, how could they have had the chance to escape? Lu Yunfeng and Dong Xingyang stared at Yan Tianfeng and touched their burning faces, their eyes gradually darkening. Mo Wuxian, who was at the side, glanced at the three of them, then turned to look at Qin Feiyang, without any intention of interfering. Qin Feiyang watched all of this, and the corner of his mouth gradually curled up into a playful smile. If it was in the past, when Yan Tianfeng gave Lu Yunfeng and Dong Xingyang a slap, the two of them could only silently endure it. But now, the two of them were no longer the same as before. Yan Tianfeng still slapped them in the face, which was undoubtedly a very unwise action. As for Mo Wuxian, he obviously had his own plans. Because whether it was Yan Tianfeng or Lu Yunfeng, they were just chess pieces in his eyes. Sooner or later, they would be eliminated. Therefore, he was very happy to see this kind of thing, so he naturally wouldn't care about it. But to Qin Feiyang, this was an opportunity. He looked at Lu Yunfeng and Dong Xingyang, shook his head and sighed, it seems that even if you two break through to War Master, your status in the Cloud region will not increase in the slightest. The two of them looked at Qin Feiyang in unison, their eyes shining with a cold light. Could it be that I'm wrong? There's an old saying that goes, don't hit people in the face. But now, he slapped you in the face in front of me. Doesn't this prove that in his eyes, you are still ants? You two, I have a suggestion. Why don't we form an alliance and kill them here? With the strength of the three of us, killing Yan Tianfeng and Mo Wuxian is easy. As for my character, all of you have seen it for yourselves. I am completely worthy of your trust. After we kill them, we will go to the other side of the 9 nether yellow springs together, and then enter the imperial capital together. How about it? Qin Feiyang laughed. Lu Yunfeng and Dong Xingyang looked at each other, clearly moved. Although they didn't spend much time with Qin Feiyang, and didn't know much about Qin Feiyang, compared to Mo Wuxian and Dong Xingyang, it made them feel more at ease. Seeing this, Mo Wuxian's heart skipped a beat. If Lu Yunfeng and Pei Sanche really changed sides at the last minute, it would be a disaster for him. He never thought that at this time, Qin Feiyang would still be able to come up with a plan to sow discord, and directly destroy his little plan. He turned to look at Yan Tianfeng and shouted, "What are you doing? Who gave you the right to slap them in the face? Why aren't you apologizing to them?" Yan Tianfeng clenched his fists, his heart was full of unwillingness. But he also knew the consequences of Lu Yunfeng and Dong Xingyang's betrayal, so he could only put down his face and bow to the two. "I'm sorry, I was impulsive before, I hope you can forgive me." Mo Wuxian also laughed and said, "Lu Yunfeng, Pei Sanche, we are the most outstanding people in Yunzhou, we carry a heavy burden on our shoulders, please don't be bewitched by scoundrels." The two lowered their heads and remained silent. Mo Wuxian said, "If you still can't let it go, you can return it, I won't interfere." Yan Tianfeng said angrily, "Mo Wuxian, what do you mean? This is the consequence of your own actions, who's to blame?" Mo Wuxian sneered. "All right." Lu Yunfeng nodded, raised his head and looked at Yan Tianfeng, and said, "As long as you can obediently let us slap you a few times, we will let bygones be bygones." "You dare!" Yan Tianfeng shouted. "Then there's nothing I can do." Lu Yunfeng laughed coldly, turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang, and said, "All right, but before he could finish, Mo Wuxian's face suddenly changed. He stepped forward and covered Lu Yunfeng's mouth, and smiled apologetically, "I'll try to persuade you again." Following that, he looked at Yan Tianfeng and roared, "What exactly are you trying to do? Do you really want to die here?" Yan Tianfeng's gaze trembled, he looked at Qin Feiyang gloomily, looked at Lu Yunfeng and said while gritting his teeth, "All right, I'll let you guys hit me." Pa! Just as Yan Tianfeng finished speaking, Pei Sanche raised his arm and ruthlessly slapped Yan Tianfeng's face. A blood-red palm print immediately appeared. "You didn't expect this day to come, right?" Pei Sanche sneered and slapped him again, causing half of Yan Tianfeng's face to swell up. Following that, Lu Yunfeng also slapped him twice. The other half of Yan Tianfeng's face also swelled up, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, Yan Tianfeng was about to go crazy. Like a wild beast that was about to go berserk, his eyes were completely red. The hatred in his heart towards Lu Yunfeng, Pei Sanche, and Mo Wuxian was so intense that it could not be restrained. Similarly, there was also Qin Feiyang. Because, if not for Qin Feiyang fanning the flames, he would not have suffered such humiliation. However, Qin Feiyang was rather disappointed. Chapter 577. However, it was not without gains. At least, it bought enough time for Dong Xingyang and Ren Wuxuang to escape. Now, it was impossible for Mo Wuxian and the rest to continue chasing after them. Qin Feiyang did not delay any longer. He smiled and said, "The four of you, it's a small world. We'll meet again next time." "Wait." Mo Wuxian hurriedly said. "Is there anything else?" Qin Feiyang asked. Mo Wuxian said in a deep voice, "Where's Pan Wuyan? Quickly hand her over to us." "Her?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. He shook his head and said, "I don't know if she's dead or not. But I can return her to you." As he spoke, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and a bloody person appeared on the ground in front of him. It was Pan Wuyan. But at this moment, Pan Wuyan's aura was gone and her face was as pale as paper. She was clearly dead. "I'm sorry. My fat brother was too heavy-handed and accidentally killed her. You guys find a place to bury her. Goodbye." Qin Feiyang laughed mockingly. He waved at the four of them and disappeared without a trace in a flash. Looking at Pan Wuyan's cold corpse, the four of them had ugly expressions. Especially Yan Tianfeng. He had the best relationship with Pan Wuyan and they had been partners for a long time. Now that Pan Wuyen was dead, he was alone. How could he compete with Mo Wuxian and Lu Yunfeng in the future? Lu Yunfeng, Pei Sancher, I know that I have no right to blame you for what happened today. After all, we used to bully you guys. It's normal for you guys to have resentment. But I still have to say that you guys are indeed in the wrong. You have to know that only the 5 of us came to the 9 Nether Yellow Springs from Yunzhou. Any one of us is extremely important. But now, Pan Wuyen died not long after we entered the Death Swamp. Only the 4 of us are left. To us, this is not good news. So I hope that before we reach the other side, we can put down our grudges and stop killing each other. Mo Wuxian said in a painful tone. Alright, we'll listen to you. But the condition is that you stop telling us what to do. Lu Yunfeng and the other 2 pondered for a moment before taking the lead to express their stance. Yan Tianfeng glanced at the 3 of them and snorted coldly. Do I have a choice now? Mo Wuxian said, since we've reached an agreement, then let's bury her. After burying Pan Wuyen, Pei Sancher frowned and asked, what about the strange flower under the pond? Forget it. Qin Feiyang won't give up. We can't beat him. In the future, let's not provoke him. Let's set out immediately and rush towards the depths of the swamp of death. We'll strive to be the first to arrive at the other side. Mo Wuxian said. Lu Yunfeng and the other 2 nodded. Comparing Qin Feiyang to the imperial capital was obviously more important. Mo Wuxian said, there's no time to lose, let's go. Whoosh! The 4 of them disappeared into the forest in the blink of an eye. This place quickly fell into a deathly silence. Inside the castle. Hearing the 4's conversation, Qin Feiyang suddenly realized. He was wondering why Mo Wuxian and the others entered the death swamp so quickly and even found a good place to ambush them. It turned out that only the 5 of them came to participate in the great battle of the 9 states. The people of the Cloud State were smart. They knew that those below the War Master realm could only be cannon fodder in the 9 underworlds, so they gave up. This way, Mo Wuxian and the others had an easier time. On the other hand, the people of the Spirit State rushed in. But what was the result? They didn't even know what the Death Swamp was like. They lost their lives for nothing. How stupid. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and looked at Fatso. The situation of the great battle of the 9 states is far beyond my expectations. Before you break through to the War Master realm, don't go out again. Fatso nodded. Although he was usually timid, with his current strength, he definitely had the ability to dominate those below the War Master realm. For people like Wu Yan, even 10 of them together wouldn't be his opponent. But in the face of experts above the War Master realm, his strength was not enough. So, breaking through to the War Master realm became a top priority for Fatso. As for Wolf King, he had already broken through to the 9-star Combat Emperor. He was not far from breaking through to the War Master realm. The Pangolin, Lu Hong, Luo Qianxue, and Lin Yi's strength had also improved greatly. But in the 9 underworlds, they obviously couldn't help Qin Feiyang. The only ones who could help him were Fatso and Wolf King. Just as Qin Feiyang was about to leave the castle, Lin Yi suddenly said, Brother Feiyang, didn't you say that you have a surprise for me? Surprise? Qin Feiyang was taken aback for a moment, then patted his forehead, shook his head, and smiled, look at me, I was so busy that I almost forgot about it. Wait a moment. After saying that, Qin Feiyang walked to the altar and opened the furnace to refine pills. In less than 10 breaths, a crimson fire-colored glass pill with 4 pill patterns came out of the furnace. Qin Feiyang grabbed the medicinal pill, walked to Lin Yi, and smiled, crimson fire-colored glass pill is different from Juku yellow dragon pill. A crimson fire-colored glass pill with 4 pill patterns is enough for you to break through 5 small realms. 5 small realms. Lin Yi's gaze trembled. Sure enough, it was a great surprise. Qin Feiyang said, "In fact, you don't have to think so much. I believe that I have the ability to protect you." Lin Yi took the medicinal pill, lowered her head, and said, "But I want to protect you and help you." Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. Wolf King smiled and said, "Little girl, it's not that I want to discourage you, but with your strength, you will never be able to help us." Lin Yi suddenly felt lost. "No one will treat you as a mute if you don't talk." Qin Feiyang glared at Wolf King fiercely and looked at Lin Yi with a smile, "Don't listen to its nonsense. I believe that you can protect me one day, but I am afraid that others will say that I rely on women behind my back." Puff! Lin Yi immediately laughed through her tears. "Well, you guys cultivate. I will go out and see if I can get that strange flower." Qin Feiyang smiled, left the castle, and walked toward the pool. He always had a feeling in his heart that if he missed that strange flower, he would regret it for a lifetime. He was also familiar with that strange flower, but he couldn't remember its name for a while. After a while, he came to the pool, but when he saw the current pool, his heart skipped a beat. The previous battle not only caused serious damage to this land, but the pool was also unrecognizable at this moment. Qin Feiyang was worried that the strange flower would also be affected. Boom! He did not hesitate and jumped in directly. However, as soon as he jumped into the water, more than a dozen black demon locusts swarmed up and attached themselves to his body. He immediately felt that these disgusting bugs were crazily sucking his blood and desperately trying to burrow into his body. Anyone who encountered this situation would feel their scalp tingle. Qin Feiyang was no exception. He quickly climbed ashore and summoned the netherworld demonic flame. The terrifying high temperature suddenly shrouded all directions. More than a dozen black demon locusts suddenly left his body in panic and rushed toward the pool. Die! Qin Feiyang pointed his finger, and the red sword aura surged out, instantly tearing their flesh body apart. Coupled with the burning of the pill fire, they were quickly burned to ashes. Qin Feiyang looked at the dozens of bloody holes on his body, and he couldn't help but feel scared. Fortunately, he reacted in time. Otherwise, when the black demon locusts got into his body, he was equivalent to a delicious cake that they could only suck. Boom! Without hesitation, Qin Feiyang jumped into the pool again with the netherworld demonic flame. The netherworld demonic flame was in a half-awakened state. As soon as it entered the water, the temperature of the pool began to rise. Qin Feiyang was afraid that something would happen to the strange flower, so he quickly sank to the bottom. On the way, the black demon locusts he encountered did not dare to approach him, but they all followed behind him. A moment later, Qin Feiyang finally arrived at the bottom of the pool. The eerie white bones were a ghastly sight. Black demon locusts lay around the strange flower, and were very resistant to Qin Feiyang, an outsider. Qin Feiyang looked at the strange flower, and could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. Although the fluctuations of the battle before were very terrifying, but fortunately the pool was very deep and did not affect the strange flower. Immediately, he held his breath and gradually approached the strange flower. The netherworld demonic flame in his hand emitted a hot wave, and the black demon locusts around the strange flower were constantly forced to retreat. Seeing this situation, Qin Feiyang was very excited. If there was no accident, he would be able to smoothly obtain the strange flower. However, an accident just happened. When he was only 1 meter away from the strange flower, the black demon locusts that were forced to retreat, were not afraid of the high temperature of the netherworld demonic flame, and once again surrounded the strange flower. Obviously, they swore to protect the strange flower even if they died. Qin Feiyang had to stop, and looked very angry. But from the side, it also showed that this strange flower was definitely not ordinary. What to do? Just as he was thinking of a way, suddenly 2 faint sounds came from above, as if something fell into the pool. Mo Wuxian and the other 3 haven't given up yet. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled, and immediately looked up, his eyes full of vigilance. But as time passed, Qin Feiyang gradually felt that something was wrong. Now more than 300 breaths had passed. If it was really Mo Wuxian and the others, they must have reached the bottom of the pool. But now, no one came down, and he could only feel the water above moving. What was going on? Qin Feiyang frowned, but suddenly thought, could it be that someone was bathing above? If so, then it was definitely not Mo Wuxian and the others. But then again, this person was really careless. With the nether demonic flame, the temperature of the pool continued to rise, and it was easy to sense that something was wrong here. If it was him, he would definitely come down to check first. Maybe in this person's eyes, this was a natural hot spring. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang could not help but shake his head and laugh. At this time, he still had the mood to think about this. He lowered his head again, looking at the black demon locusts. Suddenly, he clenched his teeth, stretched out his left hand, and directly reached into the group of black demon locusts, and then grabbed the strange flower. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching pain came from his arm. He felt that, at this moment, there were dozens of black demon locusts attached to his arm. But he did not care, and used force to pull out the strange flower, and quickly entered the ancient castle. The moment he entered the ancient castle, he took out the Chang Shui, and without any hesitation, slashed at his left shoulder. Poof! Immediately, his arm was cut off, and blood poured out like a waterfall. Bang! The broken left arm fell to the ground, and dozens of black demon locusts climbed out one after another, and immediately rushed towards the group. Seeing this, Lin Yi and Lu Hong suddenly turned pale. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.